My name is Ryan. I live in the back of my self-converted camper van. For the last 6 months, I have been documenting my journey to complete the longest road trip in America, starting in Key West, Florida, with the end goal of ending in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. This journey is over 5,000 miles long, and I'm almost there. With 2,000 miles left, all there is to do is drive the Alaskan and Dalton Highways, two of the most remote and lonely roads in the US. This is the story of the end of the longest road trip in America. I would be 100% lying if I didn't say that I wasn't scared. I'm actually very scared. Good morning. Alright, so before I send you guys along on that long 2.5 hour journey you're about to go on with this video, I want to announce something that I've been working on for a while that is finally coming out today, and that is the next iteration of my merch. Look at that. This design features a topographic map from the Brooks Range in Alaska, which is actually the mountain range that I drove past when I completed this trip up to Alaska and drove through the Alaskan Pass. So the Brooks Range is this whole mountain range. It actually extends out way further, but this small section of it right here is right where the Alaskan Pass is. So that's the road that I drove on when I made my trip up to Alaska and drove up to the Arctic Circle. So that is the new location featured on the back of this merch. Each month I'm going to be dropping a new location with new designs, talking about new stuff, and complimenting whatever new adventure I go on. So we have hoodies in black and white, crew necks in black and white, which I'm very excited about because I personally love a crew neck, and then also t-shirts, also in black and white. And there's also a new sticker up on the website as well. All of these pieces got upgraded from my last drop, so the shirt is a lot thicker, it's a lot more comfortable, and I like it a lot better. But there will be a design on the front here. You'll see it when you go to the website, and maybe I'll Photoshop something on of what it looks like right here. But when I took these to the print shop and told them to screen print the designs on the back, they forgot to do the front, so you'll just have to imagine what that's gonna look like. But all of the hoodies, t-shirts, and crew necks will have a little emblem that goes right here on the front as well. So yeah, we barely made the deadline. I got these in yesterday. I'm filming this today. The video comes out in 3 hours. So free shipping on all orders, so go check it out at the link in my video description, and I'll send you guys back to the video. So today is the day that we are getting brand new mud tires installed in the van. Got a pretty good night's sleep last night in this lovely casino parking lot after losing $40 in there and driving 8 hours to get here. But if you want to see that, you can just watch my last video. Not sure how long this tire replacement is going to take. They said that I have an appointment at 11:30, so I'm hoping only a few hours that I'll have to sit there and wait for this to be done, because unlike a regular car, I can't just drop this off and go home, because this is my home. So before we head over there, I'm going to pack myself a bag with all the stuff that I might need while they're working on the van. Alright, this should be good. I've just got my laptop and a few other small essentials that I might need while I'm waiting for the van, hopefully get some work done. So the place where I'm getting these tires installed is called Canadian Tire. And I didn't know this, and I can't be the first person who thought this, but I thought Canadian Tire was like a Goodyear store, like they only sold tires, but it's really just this massive supermarket, kind of like a Walmart, with a very misleading name. But I guess it doesn't really matter, because they were able to squeak me in with an 11:30 a.m. appointment, and they just so happen to have the tires in stock, so I'm just happy that it's getting done. Canada Tire, Canada's fun store. Not sure what that means. There she is, the auto center. Alright, so I just dropped the van off at the spot, and I'm going to use the bathroom. Said it should be like an hour and a half until it's done, and unfortunately they didn't have time, or at least they told me they didn't have time to do an oil change, so I have to go find somewhere to do that after we leave here. But this is what I'm talking about. This is like a appliance, auto parts, paint, Walmart, Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot combo. Alright, I just got told to leave the store because I have my backpack on, which is understandable, so I'm just going to go back and wait in the service center. Progress update. The wheels have been taken off. We should be out of here in like maybe 30 minutes once they put the new ones on. I'm just sitting in this little waiting room waiting for him to finish. Looks like she's just about done. Look at those new tires. Looking sexy. All right, she's all done. I'm excited to try these new tires out, and I really didn't get them just for Alaska. It's kind of just, I needed an upgrade. I drive off-road way too much to not have some beefier tires, so I figured if I was gonna get them, I might as well get them before I drive up to one of the most remote places in North America. But also it's gonna be nice to have them when I get back home when I'm driving on dirt roads again. Now those are some beefy tires. Now the only thing left to do is drive over to Jiffy Lube, get myself an oil change, and then we're driving up to mile 0 of the Alaskan Highway in Dawson Creek. How's it going? Yep. There we go. She's getting filled up. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You too, thank you. There we go. All ready to go for this trip up north. So now that we've got new tires, oil change, I also topped off my power steering fluid because he said it was a little bit low. We should be good to make it all the way up to Alaska. And right now we are driving up to mile 0 of the world famous Alaskan Highway. And I think that's probably where we're gonna call camp for the night. Got some more errands to run, get some groceries for the trip, and then tomorrow morning, bright and early, we're heading out. But we've got about an hour and 30 minutes till we get there. Alright, so Dawson Creek should be just about 2 or 3 miles down this road, and there should be a gigantic sign that says, "This is the start of the Alaskan Highway, mile marker 0. So that's what we're looking for. Welcome to Dawson Creek, mile 0 of the world famous Alaskan Highway. Woo! There you go. 0 mile and the official starting point of the Great Alaskan Highway. So it was constructed between 1942 and 1944, and it was actually built by Americans, and specifically American soldiers who built it during World War II. We'll get more into that tomorrow when I actually start the highway. This thing is absolutely demolished by stickers. There are so many stickers all over this whole thing. Oh, Books, Baltimore? That's where I'm from. I don't know if that's like America, Baltimore, if there's another Baltimore somewhere. But yeah, we've made it to the start, and then we got a few more things we gotta do before we find a camp spot for tonight. I've got a couple more errands I gotta run, one of which being laundry, because I'm not sure how that's gonna look when I'm on the highway. I think there are laundromats at certain campsites, but I think you gotta pay for a night staying at the campsite in order to use the laundry. So I just wanna get that done before I hit the highway. So that is one less thing that I have to worry about. Alrighty, got what I think is about 2, maybe 3 weeks worth of groceries. Plan on doing quite a bit of cooking while I'm on the road up to Alaska. So I should have everything I need for the entire time I'm in Canada, and maybe even the time I'm in Alaska. So we shouldn't have to go to the grocery store again, unless I need a small specific ingredient. Alrighty, and we are fully loaded with chips, oatmeal, minute rice, canned goods, and then a fridge full of fruits, veggies, caffeine-free Diet Coke, eggs, bell peppers, lunch meat, cheese. We should be good to go for this road trip. I think we've got everything we need. We're gonna pass through a couple other small towns on the way there where we can pick up some extras if we need it, but I really don't think we will because I got everything. Tonight for our camping spot, I'm actually going to go to another casino, even though I genuinely had no idea that there were this many casinos this far north. Kind of a pleasant surprise because casino parking lots are awesome places to camp for the night. And I also think we're lucking out a bit here because I got a warning while I was in Walmart that there was a severe thunderstorm watch for this area with quarter-sized hail. But I looked at the Doppler radar and it looks like it's passing just to the south of us. But anyways, everything is done. I've done what I needed to do to get ready for the road trip up north. All that's left to do is wake up tomorrow, hit the road. And technically I also could stay at this Walmart, but there is a sign that says no overnight parking, but I see a couple RVs over there, so I'm guessing it's not enforced. More than likely it'll be quieter over here by the casino anyways. Oh, look at that. First off-road test on the new tires. Amazing. handled that like nothing. And I think it's actually only open on Wednesday through Saturday, so it's not even open today. We'll just pull in right here under this lamppost. Boom, last campsite. Before we, for the most part, leave civilization until we get to Alaska. And really there is no one here other than a broken Budweiser bottle. But that's the casino right there. Chances, slots, bingo, and dining. And then there's like a park over that way, and that's the storm that I was talking about, kind of passing to the south. But yeah, definitely get a good night's sleep here. It's gonna be quiet. I think I've gotten everything that I need to get done. I'm as prepared as I can be. And honestly, I feel pretty confident about driving north. I'm not really worried about too much. So it is already 8 o'clock and I gotta fold a ton of laundry. I don't think I'm gonna have a dinner, or at least not a big dinner tonight, because I'm still pretty full from that lunch I had. And I will catch you guys tomorrow when we start our drive down the Alaskan Highway. So last night, hanging out at my casino parking lot stealth camp spot next to this broken beer bottle, I actually got a really good night's sleep. It was completely silent. We're far enough from pretty much every single road out here. And as you can see, there aren't very many other cars in this parking lot because last night, the casino was actually closed, so weren't too many people around. It is starting to get hot out though, probably like 75, 80 degrees. And I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it is definitely a little bit hazy out. Smells like smoke, probably some wildfires up north that are blowing down here. But I think first thing we're gonna do today, now that we got our laundry folded, the van's ready to go, is drive over to mile marker 0, this side of the world's loneliest highway, also known as the Alaskan Highway, and get ready to begin our final leg of the journey northward. But I just want to drive back to the sign because it wouldn't feel right starting from this parking lot. I got to start from the sign. There she is yet again in all of her glory. World famous Alaska Highway. So I figured it's only right to pull up here and start our journey at the sign. So after we finish our breakfast here and head out on the highway, I'm not really exactly sure where I'm gonna camp tonight or how far I'm driving. Probably not too far because I'm giving myself some extra time to make this drive because I really want to take it slow and kind of enjoy it and see all the cool things that the highway has to offer. This is the official start to our trip. So technically, that little roundabout right there used to be the marker for mile 0 of the Alaskan Highway, but a car crashed into it. So then they moved it over here. And this is officially mile 0 of the Great Alaskan Highway. So we'll start off by touching that and officially begin our journey. Alright, we've been driving on the Alaskan Highway for just about 3.5, 4 hours, and it seems like so far it has been mostly trees, trucks, and more trucks. Really not much else than that. It's just kind of empty roadways, and then a ton of lifted trucks, tractor trailers, and work trucks it looks like. So not really many people out here. I haven't seen too many RVs actually. I thought I was gonna see more than I have. But I guess we're still kind of early in the summer season, so maybe not as many people are driving up right now. But I think I've done enough driving for today. We've driven a couple hundred miles, and we were about 10 minutes from where we were gonna camp tonight. And supposedly it's this stop right by the side of the road that has some pretty spectacular views of the mountains. So as long as the rain holds off, we should have some pretty good views at our campsite. All right, I think this is it right here. We're gonna pull into this little rest stop, pull out area. That's what we're gonna call home for the night. And it does have a pretty nice view of the mountains. Honestly, probably the best view that I've seen so far on this trip. Definitely looks pretty cool with the rain in the distance too. This is home for the night. Oh. Wow. Really suck if I got struck by lightning up here though. I have seen one lightning strike come from this storm. So this spot that I'm staying for the night on the side of the road here isn't like your typical rest stop. There's no bathrooms, there's no vending machines, there's no little huts. All it is a dumpster and that sign, and then this little paved area where you can pull over and rest. But I am pretty hungry, so I think I'm gonna start making some dinner. Oh, and also, I almost forgot. While I was on the road, I stopped by this gas station on the way here, and I got this shirt. Pretty cool. Map of the Alaskan Highway. And then also, the thing that I'm most excited about, this. And this is a 21-inch long stick of pepperoni meat. So yeah, I had to pick one of these up. I was very excited about it. But just to give you guys a little bit of perspective, when I was looking at my odometer on the way here, so far on this trip, which I set to 0 when I left in Key West, I have driven 13,676 miles. And that is including the detour to California and all that side driving I did. So I have been driving for quite a long time, and it feels good to finally be on this last stretch of road. Today we drove from right down here in Dawson Creek all the way up the Alaskan Canadian Highway to pretty much right around here, and we're looking over the Rocky Mountains right here. So we didn't drive too far in terms of Alaskan highway driving, but we drove about 3 or 4 hours. We still got a lot to go. Let's see, what do we got in here? Ooh, I know what I want. So I picked up this eggplant when I went to the grocery store because for some reason, I was thinking about it when I was shopping, and I've been craving eggplant parmesan, and I don't know why. I bought this, and I think I have the rest of the ingredients, so that's what we're gonna make tonight. And I guess we are getting hit by the tail end of that rainstorm, so go ahead and close this until that passes. There we go. Some breadcrumbs, which I think I have actually. Yes, right here. Oh, perfect, and they're Italian style. And then I gotta slice this bad boy up. And then just get each of these eggplant slices coated in the breadcrumbs. And then we'll just repeat that process for all of these bad boys. All right, there you go. Now that we've got all of these bad boys coated up into breadcrumbs, you can take out a baking sheet, or in my case, miniature pizza pans, and just circle these up on there. Oh my gosh. How perfect is that? Exactly enough room on these pizza pans to put these in the oven. Now we'll let these bake for about 10 minutes. Get a little bit, ow, son of a, let them get a little bit crispy. Try not to burn myself again. Then we can take them out, finish up. And also I opened the door again because, as you can see, the rain has passed, but it definitely, there's a bird. Definitely is still a little bit smoky out. And those wildfires out here, I'm really hoping it clears up by morning, but if not, within the next few days. Alrighty, it has been about 15 minutes. I think these are good to come out. Try not to burn myself. Oh, beautiful. Look at those. Absolutely stunning. So for this next piece, I need some pasta sauce, but I don't have any, so we're just using some crushed tomatoes. And then we're gonna add some oregano, basil, and onion powder to it. And we can mix all of that up. And that is going to be our sauce base for our eggplant parmesan. Oh, and also I remembered I had this. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic in there too. And now all we have to do is assemble. So Pam down the bottom of the pan, and then we can add a base layer of sauce to the bottom of the pan, just a thin layer, and then take our little baked eggplant slices, lay them in there, and they fit in this pan almost perfectly. I might have to cut some of them up so they fit. And now that we have our eggplant down, we can top that with some mozzarella cheese and then some Parmesan, and then just repeat that process over and over again until the pan is full. So we got some sauce, eggplant cheese, sauce, eggplant cheese, and then we can pop it in the oven. And boom, just like that, 2 beautiful eggplant Parmesan trays ready to go in the oven. So now we'll take those, pop those in there for just about, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. I'm just gonna check on them every like 5-10 minutes, see how they're looking. Bye. Honestly, at this spot, I am not one bit worried about road noise. A single car drives by maybe once every 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, And I'm sure once it gets dark out, there's only gonna be less and less people, so should be a pretty quiet campsite for the night. And honestly, the van looks a lot meaner with those tires. You probably can't tell on camera, but those are some pretty nice off-road tires on both sets now. Look at that British Columbia backdrop. Smoky, hazy skies. Beautiful. 5-ish more minutes on these guys. Ooh, they look so good. Looks so good. And a truck has decided to pull up right behind me with their engine on. Hopefully that turns off. And it's nice doing the discs, makes them like perfect little serving sizes. Look at that. So good. I do really wish this truck behind me would turn his engine off, and if he parks there all night and keeps his engine running, I'm going to be very sad. And probably pull up another 150, 200 yards to get away from him. Because trucks do that, they leave their engines on all night and run AC and whatever else. Look at that. It's like a little eggplant lasagna sandwich. It smells so good too. It smells like a fresh baked pizza. Cheers. That is exactly the flavor that I've been craving. And it's such an easy and tasty way to get some more vegetables in because it tastes almost exactly the same as chicken parmesan. Legitimately, if you put a chicken parmesan or like a lasagna in front of me with beef in it, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Yeah, honestly, I can't take that humming sound. I'm gonna have to move farther away from that truck. All right, dinner is done. Got some leftovers that I'll be able to snack on tomorrow. But it is getting kind of late, and the more north we get, the brighter it's gonna stay out. The later it gets in the day. It is currently 9 p.m. So I don't really have much cleaning up to. Just gotta do the dishes, and then I'm probably gonna move 100 yards down that way to get away from that truck noise. But I will catch you guys in my next video, which will actually be tomorrow morning for me. So we are 200 miles into our 1,400 mile journey. And I want to make it up to Fairbanks in 6 or 7 days from now. So if I take the time that I have left driving and divide it by the days, that means I need to drive an average of 4 hours every day in order to meet that timeline. So I think today, I was doing some research last night. We're gonna drive just about 5 hours. And our first stop is about an hour north from here at Fort Nelson, which is just a small community on the side of the road where I'm gonna fill up my water tanks and maybe pick up a few things. And then tonight, if all goes well and nobody is in the campsite that I'm planning to camp at, we're gonna try to set up the ultimate campsite with my Starlink, Xbox, cooking some good food, and see if we can have ourselves a good night here on the Alaskan Highway. And there we go. We've made it to Fort Nelson. It's up around this bend. And this is kind of the last somewhat semblance of a city that we're gonna pass through until we get up to the Yukon and into Whitehorse, which is actually the last piece of civilization that we're gonna pass through before we get to Alaska. And the story with this town of Fort Nelson is kind of the same as every single other small town community that's on the road up here. Is when it first started out, it was named after Admiral Nelson, who is apparently some sort of war hero, and it was set up as a fur trading post. And then the town kind of exploded when they built the airport for the Northwest Air Staging Route, which was pre-Alcan or Alaskan Highway. And then after the Alaskan Highway was built, it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and now it is what it is. But a lot of these communities up here are just gas and oil and other types of processing plants. I think Fort Nelson is actually the largest gas processing plant, maybe in Canada or at least in the Northwest Territories. And this town is also kind of known as the gateway to the Northwestern Rockies. So after we get through here, we kind of take a left northwestern turn towards Alaska, and it should be a lot cooler landscape driving up through the mountain regions. But for us, this town is a water fill-up station and a gas station, and potentially somewhere where I might get some lunch. And I think right in here at the visitor center, there should be a dump station and potable water. I just gotta find it. Oh, I think it's over there. And it's so nice when it's actually labeled, so I know for sure that it's drinking water. And also, I've had a lot of people correct me in the comments that it's not potable, it's potable. And I Googled it, and they are indeed correct. It is potable. The only reason that I said potable is because it made sense in my brain, like pot-able. you're able to put it in a pot and cook with it, therefore drink with it. I don't know. I'm gonna continue saying potable because I like it better than potable. It's also getting kind of colder the more north I get. I can kind of feel it in the air. Breezes are colder, the days are colder. Kind of nice though, I like it. Makes it easier to sleep when it's cold out. And she's filling. Oh, good thing we did. We're almost on E. The water flow is so high. It's only been like 3 minutes and we're pretty much already topped off. Spectacular. Alrighty, tank's full. Let's get out of here. So we've got about a 3-hour drive to the place where hopefully we're gonna be camping tonight. So I'm gonna go grab myself some food, then we're hitting the road. So we have been driving for just about 3 hours and I'm hoping that nobody is at the spot that I'm trying to pull into down here. Doesn't look like they are. It looks like we got it to ourselves. Definitely a bit rocky, but nothing the van can't handle. I wouldn't say it's the most level of spots, but maybe I'll get out the levelers. This, I'm not joking when I say this, was the most stunning. I don't even think words can describe it. It was the most amazing landscape that I have ever driven through in my entire life. And I have driven through, and I've said this before, the entirety of the United States. I don't think there's a single thing down there that compares to the just absolute beauty of the area up here. Also, wildlife counter, I have seen a black bear. Just drove past a gigantic moose that I kind of caught on video. I don't know how well I caught it. And then also a porcupine. But this is our spot for the night. Just kind of tucked away just off the highway. And it's nice because we're right next to these whitewater rapids. So most, if not all of the highway noise is not going to be an issue. And there's even a little fire pit right here. If I had some wood, I'd make one. But yeah, not a bad campsite for the night. I'm excited. And I think I might try to pull up a little bit farther. I wanted to get out because it looked like there was a deep rut right here, but if I keep to the right, I should be able to pull up right here and it's a little bit more level. There we go. I mean, look at that. That is so crazy. I love Canada. I do think though that the bugs might be a little bit bigger of an issue here because there is some standing water down there from mosquitoes. But I don't really see that many of them. I mean, they're definitely flying around, but it's nothing I haven't experienced before in Maryland. But before we do anything else, I'm gonna get my Starlink set up. And I think I might leave these back doors open if I can get these magnetic mesh things to close well enough that I get some nice airflow through the van. But before I do that, I gotta grab this out. All right, let's get her set up. There we go. And we are reconnected to the outside world and we are losing the sun every second. It's getting slightly darker out here. It should probably be set behind that mountain in about, I'd say 5-10 minutes. But it is the craziest thing to be out here and be able to swipe on TikTok and text message people and send people pictures in the middle of the wilderness, in the middle of absolutely nowhere, hundreds of miles from the nearest city. I think I might actually try and play some Xbox tonight because why not? So whenever I set up the Starlink and I'm in an area with bugs, since I have to put it through the window, I usually just put tape up here. But for some reason I couldn't find my tape and I didn't want to put my Gorilla tape that I bought earlier today. But I didn't have any like Scotch tape left, so I just tore up a lint roller sheet, taped that shut so no bugs fly in there in the middle of the night. I think this spot might top my first spot just because we're right next to the river. I wish it wasn't flowing so fast. I would love to go for a swim in it. As a matter of fact, let's walk down there. It's so crazy how blue all of the water in this area is. Like, look at that. That is crazy. So beautiful out here. Maybe I will go for a swim. A little cold dip tomorrow morning. Like right in this section right here. I feel like that'd be safe enough. I am just very impressed by the beauty of Canada so far. But anyways, let's get back to the van. Make some dinner. For dinner tonight, I think I'm gonna make a nice one-pot stir fry. And that, my friends, is pretty much it. Stir fry, rice, in the northern Canadian Rockies, British Columbia. Let's eat. But I can't understate how nice it is to be able to sit here, listen to, and look at this beautiful river and landscape while eating home-cooked stir fry and still having an internet connection. Van life definitely is not what it used to be. So I will say I've had my door open this entire time while cooking. Funny enough, this spot has actually been the best about bugs coming in here so far. All right, dinner is complete. I will do these dishes tomorrow because I don't feel like it. Now let's play some Xbox because I have not played in forever and I have pretty good Starlink connection, so let's see if we can get on there and play some games. Woo! So I actually named my Wi-Fi for my Starlink Magic Wi-Fi. So if anyone pulls up next to me, they'd be confused as to why there's a Magic Wi-Fi out here. Boom. Oh, we got to update. Doesn't matter though, because we're getting good internet speeds out here. Let's see, we're getting 20 megabits per second upload. Oh, actually more, 31 megabits per second upload. And just about, download, and then 4 megabits upload. So, shouldn't take too long for this update to download. Hopefully my games don't have any updates, but I guess we'll see. All right, the update just finished. Let's see if my game needs an update. Oh, it does. Let's see how big it is. It is indeed a 9 gigabyte update, but I'm getting actually 60 megabits per second, so it should be done in about 30 minutes. So I will check back in with you guys once that's done, and then we'll play. Ooh. Man, that water's cold. So while I was waiting for the game to upload, I walked down over and hung out for like 20 minutes. But it looks like it has updated, and it actually updated my Rocket League too, so that's good. But we should be good to play now. So none of my friends are actually available to play because it is currently 1 a.m. back home where I'm from, so I'll probably just be playing solo. But we're loading up now, so we'll see what kind of connection we have. All right, so not the best, but not the worst ping. We're getting 100 ping right now. No packet loss, so not bad. But yeah, definitely is pretty nice to be able to play video games with a view like that. Even though while I'm playing, it's not really what I'm looking at. I still know it's there. Honestly though, I'm pretty surprised how little bugs there are actually out right now. Alrighty, I guess that's enough Apex. I'm gonna sit outside and watch the sunset on the mountains. Some nice alpine glow up there. I'm gonna be honest, the only way and reason that I think Starlink is actually worth it is if you do a trip like this. And I've said it before, 90% of the time when I'm in the States, I have service, and the service on my hotspots and on my phone is more than enough to play video games. But out here, when I'm in the middle of nowhere, it's really, really nice to at least have service at night, even though I don't have it at all during the day when I'm driving. And so far, the couple times that I've tried it playing video games on it is actually really nice. So I'm gonna hang out here and enjoy this view and the little bit of sunset we got left. And then tomorrow we are hitting the Alaskan Highway yet again, northward. Another beautiful morning out. How you doing, Steve? I am sure you are ready to be back out in your wilderness home and not in a box inside of mine. So last night we had ourselves a little home invasion, but I was able to capture and subdue the subject, and he's now my captive. So this little guy right here, Steve the mouse, was running around in the back of the van last night, all over the place, back up that back net. He ran across my legs. He was on my desk. He crawled down my chair. He was all over the floor, and I couldn't deal with it, so I had an extra one of these little sticky traps that I put some peanut butter on, sitting down on my cabinet, so I set that out, and little guy took the bait. And once he was on there, it was pretty much game over for him, because those things are made of some of the stickiest substance ever made on Earth. So I was still awake when he got caught on there initially last night, and after he got caught, I kind of started to feel bad about him being stuck on there and just kind of starving to death all night, so I went online and I googled how to get a mouse off of a sticky trap, and the only way to do it is if you coat them in oil. But I had to pour a ton of olive oil on the guy to get him to come free from the sticky board, and he eventually did. He wriggled himself free after being coated in oil, and then I put him in that little container, and most of the oil went with him. So I stuffed in a little peanut butter snack for him up in the corner, and also threw a few paper towels in there so he had somewhere dry to sit for the night at least. But we're gonna be letting the little guy go. I just don't want to let him go until I am ready to leave, so that he doesn't come back in. So he's gonna have to stay there and watch me cook breakfast. So after I made breakfast, my plan was I was gonna hang out here, take a shower, and then hit the road. But I forgot that we are only 15 minutes down the road from the Lillard Hot Springs, which is this naturally occurring geothermal hot pool surrounded by a bunch of warm swamp area, because it's the only spring, I think, in North America that doesn't drain into a larger body of water. And it's supposed to be pretty cool because it creates this like swampy, warm micro ecosystem in a place that has some of the harshest winters in the world. So definitely very excited to go check that out. Gotta shave this beard off. Can't take it anymore. There we go. Hopefully that's good enough. Now we've only got one thing to do before we can let Mr. Mousy go and get out of here. And that is put Starlink away. There we go. We are all cleaned up, ready to go, hit the road again and check out some hot springs. But it is now time to say goodbye to our little mousy friend, our oil-coated mousy friend. Last night when I was kind of walking around, I walked down here to this freshwater spring. And if you watched my last video, I actually had mentioned that this water is stagnant, or was stagnant. It is in fact not stagnant. It is moving. It looks like it filters through the sediment over on this side, runs around this little bend right here, and then comes out on the other side. There's like a little waterfall. We're gonna go let our little mousy friend free in this meadow next to this fresh spring. Make sure he's far enough away from the van that he's not gonna come back by the time I get back there. Hopefully the little guy lives a good life away from other vans, because I don't know if other vans will be as nice as me. Also, when I came out here yesterday, saw some big old moose tracks coming through here. Probably a big watering hole for a bunch of different animals. That is like a gigantic footprint. Anyways, this is that little spring that comes out and kind of cascades back into the river through this little waterfall. Pretty cool. But it is time to say goodbye to our oily little friend. There you go, buddy, you're free. Go, look at him go. All right, let's get back to the van before he does. And I know a lot of you are gonna say, it's just a mouse. Why didn't you let it die? Why didn't you keep it on the glue board? Technically, I am the one who invaded his home first, so it wouldn't feel right just to kill him for trying to invade mine. So maybe he'll die out there later today, or maybe he's gonna live a long and prosperous life. I just didn't really feel like being the one to make that decision, so we'll let a bird or a fox or whatever else make that decision for him. Really like that spot. I'm actually gonna miss it. We shouldn't be too far from the hot springs. Got a little roadblock of a herd of bison coming up here. Buddy's just strolling across the road. Very cool. I don't know if this is it, but where the hot springs are they further down?
It is where the hot springs are.
It is indeed where the hot springs are. But it's also a massive, very, very well-developed campground. Trail to hot spring, day use and parking. Ah, there's not too many people here, that's good. We made it. Let's go check out some hot springs. Got my bathing suit, got my towel, ready to go. Just kidding. So these kind of hot swamps are what you gotta walk through to get to the actual soaking pool. And this swamp is actually fed by that pool, so it's a higher temperature than most of the water in the area, which makes for a very unique looking landscape. Pretty cool. And this little guy is just running right along with me and squeaking the whole way. Don't know what his deal is. There we go. This is it. So I think in some areas it is hotter than it is in others, but we're gonna get in and find out. I'll try up here in this top pool first. Whew. This feels crazy, like walking on a riverbed. And it's like the perfect blend of man-made versus natural. You got some fresh springs coming in from right there, but they've got this nice platform that you can walk in on. And then it's just mud and rocks on the bottom. So it is definitely much, much hotter over here. It's almost painfully hot. That water over there is legitimately boiling. So hot over in this area, but it is very beautiful out here. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. It's so cool back here. Oh, it feels so good. It's so crazy. Like, I thought it was gonna be just kind of like a tub. It's kind of wild how natural it actually is. I don't know if they dug this out themselves or if this was already here, but it's legitimately just mud and plant matter around the entirety of the outside of this place. Pretty cool though. There's this creepy little path you can go down and explore. Oh, it's cold. It's only cold by my feet though. It's so weird. Oh, it's like it ends out in a ice cold little waterfall. And I guess if you wanted to, you could go up there, but yeah, pretty neat. Just kind of back here in the middle of nowhere in my own little jungle hut. It's kind of cold back here. I don't really like it. I'm gonna head back into the warmer waters up to the front. This must have been one of the most amazing things to stumble upon back in the day. Imagine backpacking across Alaska in the middle of the winter, and then you come across this expanse of steaming hot water. Must have been so cool. There's also logs floating around you can kind of use to hang on to. This is a little floaty. It's pretty cool. I feel like a jungle man floating on my log. Very nice. Nice natural bath. All right, we have been here for just about an hour. Feels very good. It's very warm, but we do have a lot of driving we got to do today, so I think it's time to get out of here. So I was actually mistaken. They don't have showers here, and there is a very strong smell of sulfur coming from that water. So I think I definitely will have to rinse myself off when I get back to the van, or else I'm not gonna feel the best. Much better. And I really wish I had remembered to grab my towel before I did that. All right, so now that we're done with that, I'm gonna get myself changed. On today's agenda, I think that based on the ingredients that I have in my pantry, I think tonight I'm gonna make myself a pizza from scratch, because I think I should have all the ingredients. Before we can do that, we are still on the Alaskan Highway, and we do still have a long, long ways to go. So I think for today, I'm gonna try to get 6 hours of driving in. It is currently 12 o'clock, 12:30. We're gonna drive till right around 6 o'clock or 6:30, find somewhere to camp in the woods and cook some dinner. So onward, and hopefully today we're gonna make it up into the Yukon. At least that's the plan. All right, we have made it to our first stop of the day of Watson Lake. So we're grabbing some gas and then gonna check out some of the spots in this town before we head out. Also on the Alaskan Highway, not all gas stations are built the same. Some of them I truly don't know how to use, but I think you just gotta go inside and pay. So that's what we'll do. Do you pump it first and then pay, or?
Yeah, go ahead, fuel up, come on in when you're done.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so fill up first, come back in, and then.
Yeah, do that if you want.
Thank you. All right, so I guess it's just a truss system. I don't know what the difference between the two is, though. I'm guessing they're the same. I don't know. Lift the lever to start the pump. It's not really working the best here. There we go. Gotta hold it in the right position, and then it starts to fill. There we go. So this town actually hosts one of the most famous stops along the Alaskan Highway, and that is the Signpost Forest, which is I mean, there's no better way to put it. It's a forest of signposts that was started back in 1942 when the Alaskan Highway was built by a U.S. soldier named Carl K. Lindsay, who his job was to go around and fix signposts. And One day he was feeling homesick, so he put up a sign with the distance to his hometown on it. Since then, it's grown into this massive signpost forest where people come and put their own signposts, and then it's maintained by the town. And there's new installations and new things added to it all the time, so it'll be interesting to go stop by, check it out. You can kind of already see it down there at the end of the road, all those different signposts. This thing is so much more massive than I thought it was. There are so many signposts. I should have brought a sign myself to hang up. Added somewhere to the city. It's a little bit cold out. I'm gonna put a jacket on. So I actually didn't know this was here until I got on the road, so that's why I don't have my own sign. But maybe I'll find something to hang up. It is a pretty interesting story though, that it started by one guy who was homesick and made a signpost for the distance to his house. And now all these people have done the same thing. So, I mean, there are signs from all over. Washington, Switzerland, Colorado, Illinois, Pennsylvania. There's one from the UK. Maybe I'll put my license plate up here just cause. Tons of signs. This is only a section of it. They're from all over the place too. Different countries. Oh look, someone else started. Mile 0, Key West. Okay, I've been looking around for like 10 minutes trying to find something that I can hang up in the forest, and I forgot when I went to Ireland I got one of these little European hats. But that's not what I'm hanging up. What I'm gonna hang up is on the back. It's actually my family crest. It's our pin. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see that, but it says up at the top there, it says "to me," and then there's a black ship and a red line. So I'm gonna go pound this into a post somewhere. So if you ever come to the signpost forest, see this Maryland tag, since I'm from Maryland, I'm gonna put it right above that. So if anyone comes to this forest and finds that, tag me in it. We're gonna pull down this road and see. Oh yeah, this is definitely a spot we can stay. Now I don't know how far down towards the river we can go, but that is something that I'm gonna send the drone up to figure out. Let's see if there's any campsites down this road. So it looks like it just ends. Oh, that's so sick. Looks like it just ends in a campsite right on the water, so we will definitely be pulling down there. So as long as the road doesn't get too bad down here, definitely gonna be pulling all the way down there by that river. Definitely looks easily passable though. A couple big bumps. Definitely bottomed out there a little bit, but look at this campsite. Right on the water. Very nice. Hopefully there's not too many mosquitoes here. So I'm not sure if that standing water over there is going to be cause for concern with mosquitoes, but got our own little private beach here. Not too shabby. Ooh, that is some cold water. Now that we've got our beautiful campsite on the river here, I think it's time to make some pizza. But actually, before I make the pizza, I'm going to set up Starlink. But if you've been watching my channel, you guys already know how that goes by now, so I won't take you with me. So last time I made a pizza, it turned out all right, but I think I could have done better. So this time I've got some specialty pizza flour and some yeast, and we're gonna try to do it the right way. But I can't speak for how well this oven's gonna bake the pizza because it bakes only from the bottom, not from the top like you're supposed to with a pizza. So I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But also, cool thing I got before I came out here that I haven't used yet is this like foldable origami bowl. And we're gonna use it today. So like, I forget how it works, but you basically like fold it into a bowl somehow, like this. Like pops together with these little pins. And it's nice because I have held off on getting like a big bowl like this for so long because of like how much space this takes up. But having something that folds flat, pretty nice. But first we'll take this flour, empty it out into our bowl, and then we will take our yeast, add that into the bowl. And then we actually need 1 1/4 cup of lukewarm water to kind of activate that yeast. So I am just going to use my electric kettle and like halfway warm up some water. And I think we need 1 1/4 cups for it. All right, now we'll heat this up for like maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds. There we go. That should be good enough. And we can pour that over that. Oh, that's perfectly lukewarm. And then we'll just stir this with a fork until the dough forms and mush it up into a ball. Not gonna lie, very happy with this bowl purchase. And now we just knead this down until it's a nice smooth ball of dough. All right, I think we've got our ball of dough. And now we just need to lightly oil this bowl, stick the dough in there, cover it with some plastic wrap, and then let it rise for about 30 minutes, and it should be done. We're looking for it to be just about double that size. I don't know if this bowl is big enough, but I guess we'll see. And just like that, our dough has doubled in size. Oh. See, now this is a correctly made pizza dough. Last time, I don't think I made it too correctly. This one looks a lot better, feels a lot better. So I think we're gonna make 2 thin crust, whatever size pizzas these are. So I think I would need about 1/4 of this big piece for each of those pies. There we go, we got the pizza. Also, fun fact, I'm actually pretty good at juggling. I can even do tricks. Ooh. All right. Let's make some pizzas. And I'm gonna save this for something else. Maybe we can make something cool out of this dough. So before we start stretching these out and get them ready, I don't have any pizza sauce, so we're gonna also have to make that from scratch as well. And the only thing I really have that comes close to being a pizza sauce is I've got these whole peeled tomatoes. So I'm just gonna take these, throw a bunch of spices into a blender, and call that a pizza sauce. Tomatoes. And then some basil, oregano, garlic powder, some garlic puree, and just a little bit of basil paste. Top that off, blender up. There we go. That is our delicious looking pizza sauce. And now we're ready to make some pizza. All right, first things first, get some flour down. Get that formed into a nice ball. Also, I said this in my last video, I used to work as a pizza chef in a pizza restaurant. Let's see how we do. All right, that should be good enough. One to go. There we go. 2 done. Now let's wipe up all this flour before we do anything else. So honestly, the toppings are really up to you. But if you don't like pineapple on pizza, you're wrong. And that's not an opinion. That's just a fact. Hang on. Before I do this, I should probably spray these down with some Pam. So I think for a recipe later this week, I'm going to look up something cool you can make with pizza dough, since I have that other half left, and see if we can make something cool. Maybe a calzone. I could make a calzone or a stromboli or something like that. We'll see. I do have a ton of extra pizza sauce though. Hit both of those with some pizza cheeses. Hit them with your favorite toppings. Me, bacon, pineapple. And honestly, I think if you don't like pineapple on your pizzas, maybe it's just a portion thing, because for me, I think 90% of restaurants get it wrong because they do the pineapple slices like way too big and it's a bit overwhelming. But if you get them all nice and finely chopped to the same size, it's a very pleasant pizza eating experience. But I've only found a few restaurants that actually cut the pineapples down to the right size. But bacon pineapple pizzas are the king of pizzas, in my opinion. Throw another extra sprinkle of cheese on top of those. Not too much though. And that is a beautiful pizza. Hopefully the oven doesn't destroy them. But now we gotta wait like 15 minutes for the oven to preheat because I forgot to do that and I just turned it on. All right, I think the oven should be hot enough. Go ahead and pop these bad boys in there. Hopefully they cook up nice and evenly. And now we wait. This might be where the van bottomed out, on this rock right here. Maybe I'll go ahead and throw that out of there before I drive back, or just kind of angle the wheel up on this side a little bit so it's not deep down in that rut. But anyways. Oh my god, a mosquito just flew into my throat. I think it might be in my lungs right now flying around. I don't know if it came out either. That's kind of disgusting. But also the water here is pretty, I don't know if you can see it. It's actually pretty deep. Maybe I'll come jump in here for a swim tomorrow morning. Get a little cold shock on the body. All right, I think those are just about done. They look so good. I haven't had a pizza in so long. Oh my god. That is beautiful. Yeah, these look way better than my last pizzas did. So that's good. But let these sit up here and cool off for a little bit, and then we're hitting them with our final toppings, and we're finally eating dinner. So I don't have all the toppings that I would normally like on my pizza, but I do have my top two. Hot honey, ranch dressing. Ideally, I'd have goat cheese and then some balsamic vinaigrette, but we don't have those, so we'll settle for these. Pizza numero uno. Hit it with some ranch. Nice little ranch swirl on there, and then some hot honey. Boom! And that is a beautiful looking pizza. There we go. To keep you guys kind of updated on where I'm at in the trip, we have driven, according to this here map, we went to the Liard River Hot Springs Provincial Park earlier today, right here. We drove up here, we kind of came through into the Yukon, went back down into British Columbia, came through into the Yukon, and now we are up here right before we go back down into British Columbia before coming back up into Yukon for the final time. And then tomorrow we're going to be making our way up to Whitehorse and then on through there. And Whitehorse is the last town and also the biggest town on this entire trip. They're actually big enough to have a Walmart. So we've got about 14 hours of driving left total in our trip from here up to Fairbanks. But the trip doesn't stop there, because from Fairbanks, we are driving 11 hours from Fairbanks up to Prudhoe Bay, which, if you aren't familiar, that is the Dalton Highway, which is a 60% unpaved dirt highway where there's only 3 gas stations on the entire highway. And there's a point where if you drive too far from one gas station, that's kind of the point of no return. You don't have enough gas to get back. So you just got to keep going forward to the next station. It's a very scary, very daunting road. It takes you almost all the way up to the Arctic Ocean. Takes you well past the Arctic Circle. And I'm very nervous to drive that highway, but also very excited. And then from there, we're driving basically from the top of Alaska back through Fairbanks all the way to the bottom to Anchorage, Alaska. So we're going to be seeing the whole state, which is something that I'm very excited about because I have dreamed of going to Alaska since I was in high school. So this is a big trip for me, and I'm very glad I get to share it with you guys. But anyways, this pizza is 100 times better than my last pizza that I made. The crust is perfect. It could be cooked a little better, but I can only do so much with the oven that I have. The last one, my crust was way too thick. It didn't taste very good. This one, the crust tastes good. It's nice and thin, and it's just overall a better tasting pizza. And that's really all that matters. That's the name of the game. As long as you learn from your mistakes and continue to get better, nothing else matters. Delicious. Anyways, it is getting late. It is currently 11 o'clock, so I need to get some work done. So I'm gonna get in bed and work on my laptop for about an hour and then fall asleep and wake up and hit the road again. So I will catch you guys next time. That was a lie. I didn't actually just wake up. I've been sitting on my phone for 20 minutes in my bed, and then I set my camera up on the counter over here and pretended to wake up, but it was all a lie. I'm just running out of ideas for how to do the morning intros for these videos. Good morning. So, while I had you guys down here time-lapsing by the river, I took that time to sit up here in the van and got all my dishes done. I'm also making some coffee. So I've had my door open for the entire time that I was doing my dishes, and not a single mosquito has flown in. I guess maybe they don't like to get up early or come out in the morning. So it's been pretty mosquito-free here, which is nice. And it did actually rain all night last night. It's still pretty cloudy, as you guys can see, but it did rain all night last night, which honestly is one of my favorite things that happens at night, because it's just such a peaceful way to fall asleep with the sound of rain hitting the side of the van. But we are 2 hours south of Whitehorse, which is the biggest town that you're going to drive through when driving the Alaskan Highway, and also is the capital of the Yukon. I think it's roughly around 30,000 people live there. I did Google it. They do have a Walmart, which that'll definitely be the first Walmart I've seen in a while. And a little bit more than just one main street, which is what most of the towns that we've driven through up to now have had. Just one little street with a couple convenience stores and maybe a restaurant. This little campsite has a bear-proof trash can. Ooh, someone had some rotisserie chicken last night. Get my trash thrown out. Beautiful. The landscape out here, though, is just stunning. Even in places like this where you're kind of down low and all you see is trees, it kind of reminds me, especially with the clouds, of like Twilight or Oregon or something. Very beautiful. And last night, in the middle of the night, I stepped out to take a pee, and it was probably the quietest thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. Wasn't a single sound. No one was on the road. Very peaceful. But since we are on a road trip and not a camping on the side of the road and the Yukon trip, we gotta hit the road again today. And we've actually made some pretty good progress. Once we get to Whitehorse, we are going to be closer to, well, we're definitely closer to Alaska, but we'll be closer to Fairbanks than we are anywhere else in Canada. So that's very exciting, and we've got 15 hours total of driving yet. So I'm gonna get 5 or 6 down today, 5 or 6 down tomorrow, and then we're gonna get to Fairbanks the day after that. So this town of Whitehorse is somewhere that I've kind of wanted to make my way to for a long time, but you really would never go unless you were driving the Alaskan Highway. Definitely cool to finally be able to go. Definitely gonna check out some of the cool, weird stuff they have, but we can't stay for too long because we gotta drive 5 or 6 hours today. It really is so nice out here. Let's hit the road. All right, we have made it to the city of Whitehorse, the capital of the Yukon. And you can tell we've made it because there's more than just one road. And right now we're heading down into the city center of Whitehorse because I am starving. And I looked up places to eat, and this place called the Dirty Northern had some pretty good reviews, so that's where we're gonna get lunch. It's so crazy how blue all of the water is out here. I wish the water in Baltimore was like this. That would be nice. Beautiful day out today too. It was raining all morning, and then maybe an hour ago, all of the clouds went away, and it's a beautiful, clear, sunny day now. But it does feel weird to be in a city slash town again after being for so long just in the middle of the wilderness. It feels very out of place. But I am glad that it's here because I am starving and can't wait to eat. All right, so I think the restaurant is down there, kind of on that main street. So let's find some parking and then walk over there. So far, a really nice town. Looks like it'd be a very peaceful place to live. I think I do have some Canadian coins in here, actually. I can use to pay the meter. $2.50. Hopefully that's enough to get me some time to eat. Appreciate it, thank you. All right, so I was walking up to the meter to pay it. Some guy from across the street who was walking down that way was like, no meter on Sunday. Saved me a couple dollars, so shout out that guy. Not sure what these colors are though. There it is. Dirty Northern. That's where we're eating lunch.
Hello.
Hello. Just a table for one.
For one?
Outside if possible. Thank you.
Absolutely. What are we getting?
I'm gonna do the chicken tacos. Thank you very much. Look at that. It feels so good to finally have food. That looks delicious. It's weird, being in Whitehorse, it almost feels like you forget that you're really in the middle of nowhere in the Yukon. But I will say it is a nice break from all the constant driving. Also, whenever I stop through places, I always like to get a local beer. And this is the Ice Fog IPA from Yukon Brewing, and it's actually pretty good. Lunch is finished. Might walk around the city a little bit, and then supposedly they have wooden log skyscrapers. I think they're only a couple stories tall, but we'll walk over and check those out before we head out. So there they are right there. I think now they have been refurbished into actual apartments for people, but they were built way back in the day. So these log skyscrapers are the only ones of their kind in Canada. They have since obviously been modernized with electrical and a bunch of other stuff, but it's so cool that these were built in 1947, I think, or something like that, by some guy who's trying to modernize log cabin style living and built a 3-story log skyscraper. I just thought it was really cool. I'm pretty sure it's a National Historic Site, but it's definitely not something that many people come visit when they come to Whitehorse. But I thought it was interesting, and it's cool that it was built so long ago and is still standing today with people who live in it. Admittedly, though, I don't know if I would trust those balconies. But I guess they've stood the test of time. And there's also another one in the front, but it's only like 1 story, so it's not as cool as this. Wooden skyscrapers of the Yukon. Who would have thought? Anyways, I just thought it was neat. Didn't want to leave the city without going to check those out, so. Pretty cool to see in person. And I think it's slightly leaning to the right now that I'm looking at it. But I think it's time to head back to the van. We're back at the van. It's right over there. This is the mighty Yukon River, and it is flowing at a ridiculously fast rate. I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to tell how fast this river is flowing, but it is flowing very fast. And it's actually the reason that Whitehorse got the name Whitehorse, because back before this river was dammed and was actually this high up, the Whitewater Rapids looked like the white mane of a horse. But obviously it doesn't do that anymore because the river has been dammed and has swelled up past the point where there's no Whitewater Rapids anymore. So before we head out of Whitehorse and back on the road towards our campsite tonight, there's one more place I want to stop. And it's actually starting to get hot now that the sun's out. But the last place that I want to stop is actually the world's largest weather vane. And I'll tell you guys the reason that I want to stop there once we get there, but it kind of connects to another video I did a while ago. Real Canadian Superstore, as opposed to the not real one. There it is, the world's largest weather vane. That plane right there. And essentially what that means is that it tells the direction of the wind. So if you think like those little windmills or those little things on top of farmhouses that rotate with the direction of the wind, that's essentially what this is, just on a absolutely massive scale. So right there where it's mounted in the middle, whichever way the wind is blowing, this will kind of orient itself towards, so you know which way the wind is coming from. And the reason that I said this thing has a connection to another video that I did is because it is a model DC-3, which is the exact same plane model that crashed on the beach in Iceland when I was there, when I went out to that plane wreck. This is the plane model that crashed. And here's a good image of them lowering it onto the mount point. But I just thought it was cool to see one that's actually not fully destroyed and give the people who watch my channel a lot and watch my Iceland series some perspective on what the plane looked like before it was crashed on that black sand beach in Iceland. But yeah, I'm just a fan of kind of checking out the weird, obscure stuff that are in each of the towns I visited. And it was just cool. This one had a connection to something else I did. Anyways, I think that is pretty much it for the town of Whitehorse. It's time to hit the road again. We've got about 2 more hours of driving until we get to our campsite for the night. And then I think tomorrow we're waking up and we're driving the last couple hours to the Alaskan border. So I think this is gonna be our last night in Canada. So I just made it outside of the city back onto like the more remote section of the Alaskan Highway, and something that I read about in my milepost book and also saw a lot about online was frost heaves, which essentially is the permafrost that's under the road. It creates these little dips and cracks in the highway that you can't really see, and it really hasn't been that bad on the highway. I don't think I've seen really any frost heaves up until pretty much this long stretch of road. I've been driving up and down and all over the place and bouncing left and right, and I think the last section of the Alaskan Highway is more known for having these frost heaves. And the best way I can describe them is they're big dips or like bumps in the road. And the reason that the permafrost causes them is because when it freezes and then thaws out, it creates these like big divots up in the road. I'll try to show you one next time I see one. All right, so there hasn't been any in the last like 10 minutes, but I had to pull over, use the bathroom. And on the highway, typically your only option is these kind of pit toilets. Pull hard. There you go. Not the most luxurious of restroom experiences, but they get the job done. Much better. Alright, so there really hasn't been any frost heaves, but I'm on about a half a tank of gas, so pull in here and fill up while we can. Gas here is so weird. You always have to fill up first before paying. There she go. She's drinking. Alright, let's go pay.
Gas for ya?
Yep.
9017.
Alright, we're all filled up. We're about 10 minutes from where we're hopefully going to camp tonight. Alright, so the spot we're camping should be right around this bend, up on a hilltop on the right over here. I just hope that the road is passable. Yeah, so this is it. So we're just going to go all the way up here, up to the top. So the road up actually doesn't look too bad. It's actually an all gravel road, so even if it was wet, I think it would still be fine. But this is something that the van can very easily handle. So now we just got to find a spot where we can camp, preferably somewhere with a nice view. It looks like there might be a campsite right up here, actually. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, wow. The view of the mountains here is just spectacular. This is crazy. This is where we are going to call home for the night. Definitely best view that we've had so far out here in Canada. This is pretty spectacular. Wow. We got a view of the entire mountain range up here, and best part, we got it all to ourselves. Not a single other person is up here, so I would say this spot is most definitely a win. And it doesn't seem like there's really that many bugs, and we've got some wind coming in, so the bugs really will be kind of non-existent anyways. But yeah, very happy with our spot for the last night in Canada. Campfire even comes with this nice little metal cover turtle shell thing and some firewood too. And I bet that sunset probably won't set directly over the mountains, but we've got an absolutely perfectly clear sky. It kind of makes me wish it was winter because we would more than likely see the aurora borealis, but I'm not complaining. This is just as good. All right, so I adjusted the van a little bit so we're not blocking this trail that looks like it goes back up further somewhere in case anybody else comes up here. But I mean, just look at that. Truly don't think it gets much better. And there are these things up here, which I'm not really sure what they are, but I am very curious as to what they might be used for. I guess it's almost like rain collection or something. I mean, there's a cover on it now, but if anyone can tell me what these things are, greatly appreciated. I honestly don't even think I'm gonna set up my Starlink tonight. I have good enough connection on my phone because we're kind of close to Haines Junction, which is like maybe 3 miles down the road that way, right where kind of that mountain is. You come in on the Alaskan Highway that way and then turn up this way. And Haines Junction does have a cell tower. So I do have a couple of hours, so I'm not even gonna worry about setting up the Starlink. But I do think I am gonna set up to eat outside tonight. Normally it would be a bad thing too, that it's kind of windy, but up here it's kind of a good thing because it keeps the bugs at bay. I do have to keep an eye out for bears though. Probably get my bear spray out, keep it somewhere accessible. That's camp. There's a bee. Really doesn't feel like it, but it is getting kind of late here. Sun doesn't set for another 3 hours. So back when I was down in the States, I got this thing and I've been dying to use it. I'm not sure if we're gonna get to it tonight, but essentially it's like a little miniature wood burning stove that you build kind of like a Lego set. So it's got these 4 pieces, which are the 4 walls, and you kind of slide them together like so. And it has this bottom piece, slips in there, and it builds this little box that you then put these little cross beams on, like this. And supposedly you can shove little pieces of wood in here and then put your pan on top to cook. So we're gonna try this out tonight. I think this is how I'm gonna cook dinner. I'm just gonna make a little bit of easy butter chicken. Pretty cool. So I think before I do any full-scale cooking, I'm gonna run a test and see how well this thing works. And it is pretty windy out, so I'm gonna use this fire pit's little shield and kind of prop it up as a little bit of a wind block and put this under this in the fire pit. Sit right there. That should be a nice little spot. Cook some dinner tonight. All right, we got a little something started, as long as it doesn't get blown out by the wind. All right, my other camera actually died, but we've got a fire going. Now we just gotta keep it stoked for 20 minutes and then I'll cook some dinner. All right, we've had this going for about 20 minutes. Got a nice coal bed in there. It should be good for cooking, so let's go get all the stuff we need. Before I leave though, I'll throw in another tiny little piece. I'm actually gonna take one and make it a little smaller. I think we might be able to get one more out of this. There we go, beautiful. Now we got some tiny little pieces we can throw in there. All right. So tonight we're just making a quick, easy butter chicken. Also, while I was waiting for that, I pulled the van up a little closer to the fire pit. But when I was thinking about making some butter chicken, they didn't have all the ingredients I needed at the store, so I just got this butter chicken sauce. And then I also have some chicken, obviously. So very simple, easy to make dinner, which is good because it's already getting kind of late. But honestly, I want some rice as a side, and I don't really feel like cooking that over the fire, so we'll cook the chicken outside and then we'll get the rice going in here, just to make things easier. And I didn't need to cook over the fire pit, obviously. I just had it and this seemed like the perfect setting to try it, so that's what I'm doing. We'll get this water boiling and get the rice in there as well while we're out there cooking the chicken. So all we really need for the chicken is some oil, a sauce, and then our chicken fillets, and I'm only gonna bring what I need out there just to make it easier. I'm also gonna grab my bear spray and bring that out there with me while I'm cooking. But water's boiling, rice is going in. Get that covered, and by the time we're done out there, rice should be done cooking as well. Got the fire stoked with a little bit extra wood. Get the pan on there, some oil in there, and let that get nice and hot. And I think I'm gonna put on a hoodie because it's actually kind of getting cold out. It's nice that this fire pit came with this little windshield too. It's actually very helpful. And also with having that indoor stove, sometimes it's just nice to cook out over an open fire. When you got a campsite like this, I mean, it just makes sense, right? All right, I think that pan might be hot enough. Throw in our chicken. And then we'll kind of just let these cook up and get nice and golden brown before we throw in that sauce. Oh, man. This might be my favorite campsite of all time. And I mean, mostly it's because the view is just spectacular. But second, it's like, nobody's out here but me. I got it all to myself. This looks so good, delicious. Let this cook for another 5-7 minutes maybe, and we'll be golden to eat. Alrighty, I think these are just about done. Grab myself a plate, get the rice on there, or eat. Beautiful. Take our chicken, throw that on top. Get all that extra sauce on there too. And there we go. That looks like a delicious looking butter chicken. I am so pumped to eat this. I love butter chicken. And of course, we gotta enjoy it with Diet Coke. This trip really has been everything I thought it was gonna be and more. Drive has been beautiful. Camp spots have been spectacular. Canada has been absolutely amazing. But with that being said, it is really late. I'm eating a very late dinner, so I'm probably just gonna finish this butter chicken and then hunker down in the van for one last night in Canada. So I will catch you guys next time. Morning. Today is the day, hang on, that we finally crossed the border into Alaska. And I found it only fitting that I wore my Alaskan Highway shirt that I bought on the road up here. So we started here at mile 0 in Dawson Creek. I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to see that. And we have driven almost the entirety of the 2,400 miles. We still have about 9 hours of driving to go, but right now we are here at Haines Junction and we are driving up to right about here, which is the Alaskan border crossing, and then our final destination up here in Fairbanks. So it has taken a long time to get where we're at. From the Keys of Florida, about 6 months and just about 14,593.3 miles that I've put on this van since we left the Florida Keys. So we have driven a very long way. It took a couple detours along the way, but we are now in the final stretch and are about to cross into our last state, Alaska. Also, this section of road that we are going to be driving on the Alaska Highway is supposed to be one of the worst sections of road in terms of frost heaves and road conditions and stuff like that. So I talked about it a little bit in my last video because I experienced my first few frost heaves on the road up to this campsite. And essentially what a frost heave is all of the ground up here in this area, if you dig down about 6 to 8 inches, is all permafrost. So it's permanently frozen from the harsh winters, and it slightly thaws out and then refreezes over the winter time. And when that happens under a roadway, it kind of creates these big potholes and dips and big jumps, and it just makes the roadway kind of unlevel, and some of them you can't really see that well because they're just kind of like little divots. They don't really have any cracks, so they can be pretty dangerous when you're driving, especially if you're cruising along at 100 kilometers an hour. They can wreak havoc on your vehicle. So when we hit the road today, I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for those. And the more north you get, kind of the worse they are. So that's why this section of road is notorious for having some pretty bad ones. Man, I don't want to leave this place. If I was on a road trip, I could probably stay here for a week. All right, breakfast is done. Let's hit the road. I really can't believe I've driven 14,590 miles. And if I switch my trip thing to the trip time, it says behind the wheel, I have spent 326 hours driving this thing across America, across Canada, and now up into Alaska. This isn't the best road, but it is far from the worst. Haven't been any frost heaves yet, but we just came across this section of road that is fully gravel. That's probably being repaired from frost heaves, but not too sure. There's a good example. Oh. Yeah, so they kind of come out of nowhere and you don't really see them. And yeah, these gravel roads really aren't the best when you're driving behind someone. Sometimes they get pretty dusty, but the roads out here are treated with a special chemical. I forget what it's called, to keep the dust down. Sometimes I guess doesn't do the best job, but apparently the chemical that they treat it with is actually a corrosive chemical for your vehicle. So once I get back in the lower 48, I'll probably give the van a good washing and make sure I get the undercarriage well. All right, so I've slowed down a bit, but up here are some sections of frost heave that looks like they've kind of been repaired. I can see them in the distance, but even with the repairs, sometimes they're actually pretty bad to drive over. They're kind of just like a combination of potholes, divots, and everything that can go wrong with the road all in one. And I've kind of noticed that they all typically happen in, oh, this one's similar sections of the road. They're kind of all together when they do happen. And as you can see, this is a pretty bad section of road. I don't know if you guys can see how the road kind of goes up and down and up and down. It's like driving on a wave. But yeah, for some reason they're all always grouped together in these bad patches of road. Wow, I think that might have been the worst road that I have ever driven on in my entire life. Every 200 yards, there was a pothole, frost heave, bump in the road. That was easily a trip-ending bump in the road, and there was not a single break the entire time. It was like, imagine the worst pothole road you've ever driven on in your entire life, multiply it by 10, and then make 50% of it gravel. That's what driving that road was like. But we're at about a half a tank of gas, so we're gonna fill up right here, and then we're only about like 10-15 minutes from the border. I was actually starting to get kind of worried there that I wasn't gonna find a gas station because I had no service, and for probably the last 100 miles there wasn't one. All right, we are topped off and all paid up. Let's finish the last leg of this journey to Alaska. So I think for our first campsite tonight back in the States, I'm going to camp out just on a rest stop. I mean, this road has taken a beating on the van, and I just don't feel like being on unpaved, crappy roads anymore. So I'm just gonna pull into a rest stop about an hour and a half from the border. I think that's where we're gonna call camp for the night. But I think we're actually pulling up on the border crossing right now. We're about to be in Alaska. I'm excited. Oh, never mind. This was just like Canadian customs. US customs, it says, is up another 30 kilometers, so still got a little ways to go before we get to the border. Genuinely though, I have never driven a road that was as bad as that road was. And I can't even imagine driving something like that with a motorcycle. I had no idea. I heard stories about the frost heaves and that they're gonna be really bad. And I read stuff in the book that you have to watch out for them because they'll come out of nowhere. And I kind of was just like, I've driven potholed roads before. I know what it's gonna be like, but I had no idea. That was incomparable to any road that I've ever been on. I didn't even really get a chance to enjoy the scenery. The entire drive was beautiful. Mountain ranges off in the distance, beautiful lakes, valleys. Couldn't even look out to enjoy it. I was so scared about blowing a tire. All right, quick pit stop at the sign before we go on to the border crossing. Every time there's a stop, there's always stickers covering everything. There we go. I think right now we have officially made it into Alaska, so even if we don't get across the border, technically we made it. There's actually a bench over here where I think this is the line between Alaska and the Yukon. So right now I'm in Alaska, and now I'm back in the Yukon. Now I'm back in Alaska. Anyways, get back on the road. I think the border crossing is just up the road there too. And I like to have my curtains open, just kind of build that trust. Show them I got nothing to hide, so I don't get sent to secondary inspection. But right now we're just waiting for the guy in front of us to clear, and then we can pull in. How's it going?
Where you going?
Alaska. I travel and I do videos. I live in the back of the van, so I just do daily videos on YouTube. Yeah.
Put tobacco, fire, firewood.
Nope. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bada bing, bada boom. We are back in the US of A. We have officially driven from Key West all the way up to Alaska. Oh, and it feels good. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light? I don't know. I'm just pumped to be here. Okay, thank you. Well, nice warm welcome into the United States. We have that lady just informed me we have a 20-minute wait, so we can move. So I guess we'll settle in a bit. And I'm actually kind of hungry, so I am going to make myself a little sandwich while we wait for road work to clear. There we go. Nice little sandwich on the road. So the road trip isn't over yet. We still got about 8-ish hours until we get to Fairbanks. And I think tonight for camp, I'm gonna drive another hour and a half to find a campsite. All right, the pilot car just brought all the traffic coming in this direction, so we should be good to go here in the next 5-10 minutes once this traffic passes. All right, we've made it through. Now I got about an hour and a half till we get to camp, so I will check in with you guys once I get there. Alright, so the road has finally started getting better. I didn't really record too much on the way here because I was so focused on not hitting a pothole. It would have sucked to drive 13,000 plus miles and then have it ruined in the last 300. We're almost at the spot that we're gonna camp tonight. It's about a mile down the road. Down here, I think it's a fishing or boat parking lot or something like that on the river. Drive up here has been beautiful other than the potholes. I mean, it's like just constant view of the mountains off in the distance. All of the sections of the road that they've repaired legitimately look like they just drove down the road, dropped a pile of asphalt, steamrolled it over, and then just left. It is the sloppiest road work that I've ever seen, but I mean, I guess it gets the job done, and when you have to pave over stuff 100 times, I guess it makes sense. But I think this is where we're gonna stay tonight. I don't really know. It's got a nice view of the mountains, so good enough for me. We'll walk down there and see what it is down there. A lot of driving today. I think we clocked in another 6 hours. Yeah, we're just doing a paved campsite tonight because she took quite the beating tonight. She deserves the rest, not driving up another dirt road. But according to my shirt map, today we drove from Haines Junction right here all the way up across the border, and we are just kind of right up here somewhere before Delta Junction and after Talk. So right here's where we are on the map. All we got to do now, finish off in Fairbanks, which I think is only like 4 hours away. So technically I could drive there today, but it's already 6 o'clock and we drove through, I think, another time zone. So technically it's 7 o'clock, but since we switched times at 6. Oh, so I think it's, we'll walk down there and see it, but it looks like where the old bridge used to cross over and now there's a new one over there. But this is just some info on the Alaskan Highway. Rugged, unmapped, and oftentimes designed as it was built. Kind of like my vlogs. Most of the time I don't have a plan for my day and they just kind of happen. After only 8 months, the 1,390 mile gravel highway from Dawson Creek, British Columbia to Delta Junction, Alaska was complete. So there you go. We're almost at the end. I guess the technical end of the Alaskan Highway is at Delta Junction. But this is some of the supports from the old bridge that used to be here. And you can kind of tell where the bridge used to go out across from those beams, and it matched up with that little spot right there. And obviously now there's a new bridge. And it looks like, according to these two placards, the bridge used to be this, and apparently it is a 3-span cantilevered subdivided Warren steel through truss bridge. It's got 3 names. Apparently it had issues with not being wide enough or tall enough for the bigger loads of today to go through it, because this bridge was built back in the 1940s when cars and trucks were a lot smaller. So they had to build this new bridge that's wider and doesn't have any height restrictions on it. So pretty interesting. It's also beautiful out here. Perfect weather. And according to this, it actually used to be wooden back when they built it for the original Alaskan Highway. I was probably scared to drive across. I also don't have the best service here, so I think I am gonna get my Starlink set up tonight in the van. Is a little bit dusty from the drive here. Oh my gosh, everything is coated in dust. I think I left my fans open. Ugh. Definitely gonna have to pull out the duster tonight. Oh yeah, very nice layer of dust on everything. All right, the Starlink is all plugged in and powering up, and I really wish that I had closed my vent fans. There's so much dust everywhere. There we go. That's good enough. All right, so I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty beat after I got the Starlink set up, so I took like a 20-minute power nap, and after I woke up from my nap, I had a really good idea for what I'm gonna try to make for dinner. And since I have that leftover pizza dough in the fridge, I think I'm gonna try to make a chicken wrapped puff pastry thing. I don't know. We're just gonna throw a bunch of stuff in little puff pastry wrappers and hopefully it tastes good. Let's pull these bad boys out and see how they look. Ooh. Ooh, hot. I wish they were a little bit crispier, and it probably would have been better if I had like pastry dough so it would get that nice golden brown on it, but I think these look actually pretty good. So I think I'm gonna try a dumpling and then 2 of these. And I'm sure these are gonna be like lava on the inside, so I'm gonna let them cool down for like 3 minutes. I got some yum yum sauce because I feel like that might be good to dip them in. Well, let's cut one of these puppies in half and see what they look like on the inside. It like doesn't look good, but it does at the same time. And I know it's going to be good because it's just pizza crust, chicken, cheese, and ham packed together in a little pizza pocket. It actually is pretty good. Honestly though, I think the pizza crust is the best part of it. I really did a good job on this pizza crust this time. This one actually does look like a bao bun on the inside. Ooh, they're hot though. I definitely could have made them look a little prettier, but for a quick, easy dinner using the food that I had, came out pretty good. Ow! Ah! So hot. Wow. You know what it actually tastes like? It almost tastes exactly like those ham and cheese Hot Pockets you can buy from the store. And I'm definitely gonna have leftovers because I'm not finishing those other 2, especially not that super long hot dog looking one. You can definitely tell we're very northern now with how high the sun is in the sky. It is currently 8 p.m. The sun doesn't set till 11:45 p.m. and then rises again at 4 a.m. And it doesn't even really set. It's just the sun is slightly below the horizon for a little while, and then it pops back up. But I think tonight I'm gonna do something that I haven't done this entire trip, and that is actually get to bed at a reasonable hour. So I'm gonna finish my little puff pastry Hot Pocket things, and then draw all the shades so I can keep it dark in here and go to bed. I will catch you guys next time. Good morning, USA. Welcome back to our first day back in the good old US of A. Today, we are finishing up our final 3 hours of the Alaskan Highway. So far, we've driven 30 plus hours on this highway, and it feels good that we're gonna finish it today. And since we have now made it to Alaska, I think one of the first things that I'm gonna do when I get to Fairbanks is go drive around until I find somewhere that's selling Alaskan king crab, because that is what I wanna cook tonight for dinner in honor of finally making it here. I also lost track of what day it is. And today I was looking at my phone and I realized today's the 4th of July. So what better day to make it back to America than today? So with having been on the road for the last 10 days, kind of in the middle of nowhere, there's not very many options for showers. And I have taken head showers and outdoor showers and have rinsed off after jumping in hot springs, but I haven't had myself a proper shower in probably 10 days. And that is by far the longest I've gone. Typically, with normal everyday living in a van, I get a shower once a day, almost once every other day. But out here, it's just not as easy. First thing we're gonna do when we get to Fairbanks is find a store that's one open, which I'm not sure there will be because of the holiday, and get us some king crab to cook for dinner tonight. And then I'm gonna find somewhere to get myself a proper shower. Also, I said about a month ago that I wasn't going to be cutting my hair until I made it to Alaska, and we have made it to Alaska. So technically I'm allowed to get my hair cut today. Honestly, the longer hair is kind of growing on me. We'll see how I feel after I shower. So I preloaded up the GPS to take me up to Fairbanks and Interior Alaskan Fish Processing Center. I don't really know. Apparently they have Alaskan king crab. I don't know if it's out of season right now or if they'll have it at the moment, but we got about 3 hours and 14 minutes until we get there according to the GPS. So it is time for one last drive. Beautiful. We have officially made it to the end of the Alaskan Highway. There's the sign right there. From here, we are on the Richardson Highway, but we have officially completed our journey of driving from Key West, Florida, all the way up to the top of the Alaskan Highway, and man, does it feel good. Don't know what this is. I'm guessing it's some sort of historic building. Not too sure, but this is it. The end of the Alaskan Highway, now entering the Richardson Highway. So right up there where it turns off is where the Alaskan Highway ends. I will say it is a pretty uneventful ending place. There's just kind of a large cell tower and then this rest stop, but it does feel good to finally be at the end. We still got about 45 minutes, maybe an hour to Fairbanks, and then we're gonna hang out there, probably stealth camp somewhere in the city tonight, and then wake up tomorrow and we're tackling one of North America's most dangerous highways, the Dalton Highway. So there we go, they got this little marker here and then a little thing about Delta Junction. Apparently the highway cost $115 million and was built by 15,000 men. There you go, mile 1422, end of the Alaskan Highway. And I guess these are the different pipeline sizes on the different highways. So when we're driving down the Dalton Highway up to Prudhoe Bay, this is the size of the pipeline that kind of goes from Dalton Bay down to Fairbanks. Pretty interesting. See what they got in the visitor center. Hello. All right, so I got myself a few stickers, a postcard to send to my girlfriend, and then a t-shirt. I'm gonna take this sticker, end of the Alaskan Highway sticker, and add it to my sticker collection on the back of this cabinet. I think you can go right there. Perfect. All right, let's finish out this drive, get up to Fairbanks, get some crabs, and a nice hot shower. Oh, and across the street over here, they have some of the old remnants from when the World War II soldiers came up here and built it. That's what they were driving. And it wasn't paved back then. Very, very impressive feat of human engineering to finish this in only 9 months. And admittedly, it was just kind of a path, blazed through the forest with kind of no planning and no regard for where they were going, but they still did it. So, it is time to say goodbye to the Alaskan Highway and hello to Fairbanks in about an hour. All right, so we've made it to Fairbanks and we are almost at that fish supply store. And there's really not that many places in Fairbanks that we could potentially get these crab legs. So I'm hoping this place is open, but with it being the afternoon and the 4th of July, I don't know if it will be. And I'm also hoping the same thing about the gym. Online it says it's open 24 hours a day, but again with the 4th of July, I just don't know if they'll actually be open today. But hopefully they are. And it looks like they are indeed closed. That's no fun. All right, I'm gonna head over to a local grocery store and see if they maybe have something there, or we might just have to get some legs from the grocery store. Hopefully they have them here. Wow, this place is huge. I thought it was just a grocery store. It's like an upscale Walmart. So it doesn't look like they have any legs, but they do have some whole Dungeness crabs. Maybe we'll try that. How's it going? Do you guys have snow crab legs at all? Okay, I'll just get 2 of the Dungeness crab then. Thank you very much. Have a good one. So no snow crabs, but we got 2 Dungeness crabs that we're gonna cook up. All right. We've got everything we need to make some dinner, and this should be a fairly easy dinner tonight. Considering I'm from Maryland, and I think these are pretty similar to how you cook and eat Maryland crabs. Just they are a lot bigger, wow. Those are some mean looking guys. But of course we had to get Old Bay, which I'm now realizing that I think I have in my cabinet. Yep, I 100% do. So I do need to get that. But we got some of that, some horseradish sauce. We're gonna steam these boys up tonight. And I also got some local Alaskan IPAs because it is the 4th of July, so why not? So I got all the stuff put in the fridge, and tonight's campsite I think is gonna be a good old-fashioned Camp Walmart. And we're about 10 minutes away, so it's not too far. And we have made it to our campsite. Looks like we're being joined by quite a few other campers in a lot. And that's a sick looking RV. That's cool. But fun fact, I actually didn't know this until I looked it up because they were at the other grocery store and I was wondering. There's all these pillars all over the parking lot with plugs in them, like you can plug an extension cord into. And when I was walking around and looking at some of the cars, they just have like extension cords sticking out of the grill from the front of their car. And I looked it up and it's for the winter time. So when they come and they park in places like this, they can plug their car in and heat their engine block so that they can start it when they get back out of the store. So that just goes to show you how cold it does get up here in the wintertime. I don't know if they're on right now, they're probably not, so I don't think I can plug into one. Not that I would really need to anyways, but just thought it was interesting. I'm also kind of hoping that we might be able to see some fireworks from the parking lot tonight, but I don't even know if fireworks like that are legal in Alaska. But before we cook any crabs, grab myself one of these Alaskan beers. There we go. Beautiful. So apparently the way that most crabs are kind of given to you in Alaska is they're fully cooked. So these Dungeness crabs are actually fully cooked, and they have this weird like hair on the bottom that's kind of off-putting. They're not the same as Maryland crabs, and they're way bigger. Very excited to eat though. So first thing we got to do in order to prepare these crabs, grab the largest pot that I have, which actually doesn't fit the crabs. Maybe we'll try this one. All right, so I'm just gonna cook them one at a time, but because only one fits in the pan that I have, and this is the largest pot that I have. So that's just what we're gonna have to do. So I'm just gonna fill this up as high as it goes with water, and then once we get that boiling, we'll throw the crabs in, let them cook, and then add our seasoning. Can't forget to salt the water. And now we'll just wait for that to come to a boil. Also, my girlfriend FaceTimed me, so she is spectating as I cook these beautiful Dungeness crabs.
Joe Bean.
And that is her cat, Bean. Wonderful little kitty. All right, so this water is just about boiling, and I decided to do 2 pots just so I can get both of them boiling at the same time. And since they're fully cooked, it doesn't really matter. This is just to kind of warm them up. It doesn't necessarily matter if they're fully covered. So I'm gonna stuff this one in there, and then once that one's boiling back there, we'll stuff the other one in there, and then while those are kind of warming through, we'll start melting the butter and getting all of the different sauces for the crabs ready to go. I also had to change once I started getting this water boiling because it got really hot in the back of the van. And I actually put up this sunscreen right here because the sun is coming in directly from this way, and it helps keep this cab area a little bit cooler and cool off the rest of the van, but it's still pretty hot back here. So both of these pots are boiling. Go ahead and throw these crabs in there. Ooh. Let those get nice and warm through. And this back one barely fits in there. I kind of got to shove it down to get it to go under. So now that we've got both of our crabs boiling in the water, we'll wait for those to get back to a boil, then we'll take them off the heat. And I think I'm just going to set them on this like oven mitt over here off to the side so that I can free up these burners and start melting up the butter and all the other sauce that I'm going to use to eat these bad boys. And also, I forgot to mention, I didn't go to Planet Fitness to take a shower because I called them and no one answered, so I just kind of assumed that they were closed. So I think I might try to go tomorrow morning before I head out on the Dalton Highway, but I haven't really decided yet. It kind of depends on what the weather's looking like tonight, because if it's supposed to rain tomorrow, I might hold off driving down the Dalton Highway until the day after tomorrow. But it kind of depends, we'll see. I'm giving myself 4 days to drive it, so it's 11 hours from here up to Prudhoe Bay, which is the entirety of the Dalton Highway, and then obviously 11 hours back. So I'm thinking I could drive 5 or 6 hours, find somewhere to camp off the highway, drive the next 5 hours the next day, camp in Prudhoe Bay, and then kind of just repeat the process on the way back, camping along the way. So that's the plan. Don't know if that's actually what's gonna happen, but we will see. All right, so these should be good to move off to the side over here. Then we can take this burner, throw some butter in there, let that melt down. And then while we're waiting for that to melt, I'll get out my lemon juicer. We'll juice up one of these lemons. So I think we're actually only gonna need probably half of this lemon, and I'll save the other half for some slices for when we're eating. There we go. Fresh lemon juice. And now that we've got our butter nice and melted, take some of this Old Bay, add that in there, and I like Old Bay, so I'm gonna add a lot. We can mix that up. And that is gonna be what we dip our crabs in once we extract all the meat from them. And I'm very excited. I haven't had crabs since I was back in Maryland. So this will be a nice treat. Although I am used to them being cooked from raw, but I guess you got to get them pretty fresh, straight from the water in order to do that. So we'll take what we can get out here. Maybe once we get down to Anchorage and down to the coast, we'll be able to get some more fresh seafood. The only other sauce I got to make is some cocktail sauce. And for that, we're just going to add a little bit of this horseradish paste that I bought. Squirt some ketchup, mix that together. And that is a nice, quick, easy cocktail sauce to dip the crab in. Also, completely forgot, add the lemon juice into this butter mixture. That's pretty much it. We got everything prepared in order to eat the crabs. Now we just gotta wait 5 to 7-ish minutes for those to warm up all the way through. All right, so I think these crabs should be just about done. And that first part was actually the easy part of the recipe, because now we gotta get all the meat out. So I don't have the proper cardboard paper that you would normally have if you were doing something like this. So I'm just gonna line this table with paper towels and hope that that does the trick. Gotta make sure to drain all that excess water out of them, or else they'll really be a mess. Let's get to cracking. Start off with the legs, rip those off. Do that to both of them. Woo! Oh, that guy still has a bunch of water in him. That's why you gotta drain them. All right, now that we got all the legs off, get some fresh paper towels on here. But before we start on the legs, we're gonna get the meat out of these shells. So you just kind of tear them open like this, and they look pretty nasty on the inside. So you can't eat these lungs. Take those off. They're on both sides. Or I guess the gills, I don't know what they are. Lungs, they breathe air. And some people will like stuff the meat into the shell and eat it out of the shell, but I personally don't like to do that, so I just put the lungs in there, set that aside, and then we can get all the meat out of this body. I've never actually had Dungeness crab, so I'm interested to see how it tastes compared to a Maryland crab. Definitely can't be afraid to get your hands a little dirty if you're gonna eat crabs. It's a very unfriendly process extracting all the meat, and I am definitely not doing a very pretty job of doing it. That is all the meat we collected from the body. I will move those aside and start getting it out of the legs. And honestly, the legs are my favorite part because you get nice big chunks of meat out of them. So I don't have a crab cracker, so I can't really do it perfectly. But we're gonna do the best we can. I can also very faintly hear fireworks going off in the background, but I can't imagine they're too spectacular when it's still that light outside. All right, I think that is all of the meat we're gonna extract out of 2 of these crabs. I'm gonna get this cleaned up, then we're eating. So I didn't get too many solid pieces of meat there because I was kind of haphazardly ripping them out of their shells without the correct tools. So we did what we could with what we had. Squeeze some lemon juice on there, a little bit of dill weed, There you go. Nice little crab feast in the van to celebrate making it to Alaska. Delicious. Oh. So good. Fun fact, actually, crab is my favorite food on the planet. There truly is nothing that tastes as good as crab dipped in butter, coated in Old Bay, fresh out of the ocean. Or, I guess in my case back home, out of the bay. I wish we were able to find some Alaskan king crab, but I am definitely not complaining because this is absolutely delicious. Also, I was thinking about it, once I get down to Anchorage, I might try to go out on a charter boat or reach out to someone and do some sort of catch and cook while I'm down there. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. All right, dinner and crabs were delicious, but I have an absolute mountain of dishes that I have to do now. And it is already getting late, and I potentially am going to be waking up early tomorrow to go drive on one of the scariest highways in North America. So I'm gonna get these dishes done and then maybe run inside to Walmart, grab some supplies, some food for the 4-day journey on the Dalton Highway, and then get myself a good night's rest. So I will catch you guys next time on the Dalton Highway. This road is 415 miles long. Only 40% of it is paved, the other 60% is gravel. And even with that, the 40% that is paved is typically in worse condition because of the potholes and notorious frost heaves. It is also known as the haul road because it is typically driven by big trucks delivering gas and oil from Prudhoe Bay, which is up here in Dead Horse. That is going to be our final destination, all the way down here, back to Fairbanks and wherever else they're going. But the Dalton Highway actually starts about an hour from Fairbanks, so we got to get there first. And all of these sections here that you see are dotted, all of that is unpaved gravel roads. This section is paved, and then we get back to the unpaved gravel for a long time, a little bit of paved, mostly gravel, and then the last 10 or 15 miles are paved all the way into Dead Horse. So that is what we're doing today. But before I do anything else, as you can probably tell by the way my hair looks, I just spent the last 10 days on the Alaskan Highway driving from America all the way up here to Alaska. And as you can imagine, there aren't very many opportunities for a shower. So I feel more disgusting than I've probably ever felt in my entire life. So before I go spend another 4 days on a remote dirt highway, I would like to get at least one nice warm shower. We are saying goodbye to our Walmart campsite that we stayed at last night in Fairbanks. And I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time that I am genuinely scared to take a drive. I've been checking the weather, I've been reading reports, I've been reading stories from other people who have driven the Dalton Highway, and just trying to psych myself up because I'm so stressed out about driving it. Number 1 is made of gravel. Number 2 has 12% grades. And number 3, it is the highest mountain pass in all of Alaska. So all 3 of those combined make it a little bit intimidating, but we're supposed to have good weather today, so the road should be pretty solid. I don't know if it's rained the last 2 or 3 days here, it probably has. And then I anticipate it taking us at least 2 days to get all the way down to Prudhoe Bay. It's about a 12-hour drive, and I'm gonna break it up 9 hours today and then 3 hours tomorrow. So yeah, that's the plan. But first, I need a shower. There she is, shower time. Wow. I feel a billion times better. We do have a long day of driving, so we gotta hit the road. Before we leave, there's a couple things I gotta do. So if you look at this map of the Dalton Highway, you probably can't see it, but the only gas stations along the route are here at the Yukon River Camp, and then all the way up here past the Arctic Circle at Coldfoot, and then from Coldfoot all the way up until Prudhoe Bay, there is no gas station until you get up to Dead Horse, which is right around 230 miles, and my gas tank holds around 340 miles. So once we pass Coldfoot, after we get a certain distance, that's kind of the point of no return, where we are too far away from the previous gas station to turn around, and the only option is to go forward so that we can get gas in Dead Horse. But before we head out on the road, I am almost on E already, so I'm gonna fill up in town where the gas is the cheapest, and then no matter what level my tank is at for the remainder of the journey, we will be stopping and filling up at every single gas station. So yesterday night, after I cooked whole Dungeness crab in the back of the van, I ran into Walmart and got some additional provisions for this road trip, one of which being this extra 2.5 gallon jerry can to take with me in case I run out of gas. So first we're gonna top off the tank, then we're gonna fill that. Also, I did buy myself some more windshield wiper fluid, specifically bug remover windshield wiper fluid, because since the road is mostly gravel, I will probably be using all of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my tank, and then I'm gonna run inside and grab another spare one of these just in case. There we go. Nice and snug back there. Beautiful. Perfect. So since today is going to be such a long driving day, I got a couple energy drinks and then 2 of these Uncrustables to eat on the road for breakfast. I think that's it. New tires, full gas tank, extra windshield washer fluid, an air pump for the tires, a battery charger, and a full-size spare tire mounted on a rim. So not much else I can do to prepare. It's time to just send it. So we've got about an hour drive on paved roads until we reach the Dalton Highway. So I will check in with you guys once I get there. All right, so this is it. This is the start of the James Dalton Highway. Driving up to the Yukon River, the Arctic Circle, and eventually the Arctic Ocean. And there's a sign, pavement ends, heavy industrial traffic, proceed with caution. There we go. Pavement has officially ended. So these gravel roads are graded gravel roads, so they're not just kind of your everyday typical gravel road. They're supposed to be very good, which makes sense because there are very expensive, very heavy trucks that drive down them all the time. And they're actually treated with a agent that makes them so they aren't dusty, so they don't kick up as much dust. And we have got approximately 6 hours and 42 minutes driving on this until we get to our campsite. Our campsite is just over the Antietam Pass, which is the highest mountain pass in Alaska. It's just over about halfway down the road. So I wanted to get there today because the weather's supposed to be good, but there you go. Welcome to the James Dalton Highway. So today we started our trip there in Fairbanks. We're driving up through Living Good, the Yukon River, Arctic Circle, Coldfoot, which is another gas station, and then up through the Antietam Pass into Prudhoe Bay. I guess this is it. This is the official start of the Dalton Highway. I'll give you guys a quick idea for what the roads look like out here. So they're actually relatively smooth, pretty good. I can't imagine that they're gonna be too muddy when it gets wet, but I've heard some horror stories and we're supposed to get some rain on the way back. So definitely gonna be a couple sections of a little bit of white knuckle terror, especially driving over those mountain passes. But we've got a lot of driving, so it's time to get back on the road. And we're off. So these first few miles are all this graded gravel road, and then we have a good section of pavement we're gonna drive through, and then pretty much all gravel from then on up until we get to Prudhoe. And there's 2 things that I need to keep in mind when driving this road. Is one, that I'm a guest here. This is primarily a trucker road. There's no need for me to be on this road. I'm not hauling a fully loaded truck. I always am going to give way to the trucks, make sure that when they're passing me, I'm pulling over, slowing down, 1, to give them the room they need, and 2, to protect my windshield, because I fully anticipate coming back with at least 1 crack in my windshield from all the rocks that the trucks kick up. And the second thing I need to remember is keep up my speed. The speed limit is 50 miles an hour. Most of the trucks are traveling at that speed limit or more. So I either need to keep up my speed with the trucks or get out of the way and let them pass. The only thing that I'm really worried about is how muddy these hills get, because I know my van is notorious, if you've watched my channel before, for not being able to make it up muddy hills, but I've also never driven up any muddy hills with the new mud tires I have on this thing. So this road will be their first true test. We're about 15 minutes in now, and the roads have been honestly better than the paved roads that I've been driving for the last 3 days. And I've been so nervous about getting here that I forgot to eat my breakfast. Reminds me of middle school. I haven't had one of these in years. I think you have to be a special breed to want to ride this road on a motorcycle. Hit one of those potholes, it's game over. There's a good view of the Alaskan pipeline. Pretty much runs the entirety of this road. All right, we're about 30 or 40 miles in. So far, so good with driving past trucks, not getting any rocks thrown up and chipping my windshield. So I've heard horror stories about these paved sections of road being much worse than any of the gravel section, but so far, this paved section has actually been almost immaculate. This is just a small section of paved road before we hit the Yukon River crossing, and then after that, there's like 30 miles more of dirt road, and then we get a large chunk. Oh, here's some waves, frost heaves. Ooh. Oh, and then after we cross the Yukon River Bridge, it's another section of kind of long dirt road, and then we get a pretty good long section of paved road, and then that's pretty much where the paved road ends. Here we go. This is the Yukon River crossing, which is actually the largest river in the entirety of Alaska, and also this bridge is, I think, the only crossing of this river. And up here to the left should be the first spot where we can get gas. So we are going to fill up just to be safe. We're all filled up, but it's starting to rain a little bit, but nothing too bad. All right, so I grabbed myself a nice hot coffee from inside, a Yukon River sticker, and then I crossed the Arctic Circle sweater, even though technically we haven't crossed it yet. I don't expect there to be very many gift shops, so I bought it with the anticipation that we'll make it at least that far. Fueled up, got some coffee, saying bye to the Yukon River camp, hitting the road again. All right, quick check-in. We have officially made it to the Arctic Circle. That is crazy. All the way from Key West, Florida up to the Arctic Circle. This is actually where most people who drive the Dalton turn around. How's it going?
Congratulations, you made it.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Would you like the certificate saying you did?
Sure, thank you very much.
BLM.
Appreciate it.
And I'd be happy to help with photos if you want.
I'm good, thank you very much. But I appreciate it. Thank you
Sure.
for the.
You going on?
Yeah, I'm going up to Prudhoe.
Really encourage you to check at the visitor center in Coldfoot about road and weather,
Okay.
because Alaskan Pass changes almost daily. They get updates every day from people and truckers and
Okay.
everything. So
And how bad is it typically in the rain?
it gets real muddy.
Okay, so people get stuck up there?
Yeah.
Okay. That was the one thing I was worried about, is getting stuck up on that pass. And
Yeah, tell them that and they'll give you really good advice.
Okay. All right, so they had a guy who works for the Bureau of Land Management up here, gave me a certificate for making it up here to the Arctic Circle. But there we go. He told me that the Antiegan Pass is a very, very scary pass, and that sometimes the mud is very deep. So he said to just ask in Coldfoot what the conditions are like, and he said they can give me a pretty good recommendation, but I gotta get back in the van. There's like a billion mosquitoes here. But we made it onward to Coldfoot and the Arctic Ocean. Bob and weave, baby, bob and weave. Sometimes when those trucks go through those dirt patches, the visibility drops to like 0. Like, this is one of those sections where I couldn't imagine my van making it up if it was any kind of wet. And that's why I'm so nervous about that pass. Because if we get over it today and it's dry, and then while I'm over there on the other side in the Arctic tundra and it rains, I don't want to get stuck over there or forced to drive over it. Guess we'll see. These guys really kick up a lot of dust. All right, we have made it to Coldfoot, which is the last gas station. I don't think the gas station is down this road. This is just the visitor center that I'm gonna stop by. Gas station is a little bit further down that way. But I'm gonna pull in here and ask them what the conditions for the Brooks Range pass is. See if we can do it today. I also did hit a pretty massive pothole with this front left tire and genuinely thought it exploded, but looks to be okay. I was just wondering if you have any information on the conditions for the pass, if it's good, bad.
Yeah, so it was a little rainy.
Uh-huh.
The pass itself was usually really mellow.
Okay.
The spot we caution people on after rainstorms is the Chandelar Shelf, and that's the spot
Okay.
they'll have. Actually, I can show you on the map.
Also, do you mind if I record?
Oh no, that's fine. So this is the Chandelar Shelf,
Okay.
and Adigan Pass is all the way up here. So you'll come up past. You're going to be parallel to the Dietrich the whole time, and then
Okay.
this spot right here is called Last Tree. There's a pull-off and a pit toilet. Then you'll go up the shelf, which is this short but quite steep ascent.
Okay.
And at the top, it kind of gets rutted out and muddy, especially if there's been a lot of rain, which we had some good rain yesterday and the day before. And then once you come through here, it's all flat and you can see the pass rising up. Just make sure if you are in four-wheel drive.
I don't have four-wheel drive.
Oh, okay. Well, if you don't, again, that's fine. It's pretty mellow. The only thing you have to watch out for on the pass itself is trucks coming down. Just go slow. Be aware
Okay.
of your surroundings. It's kind of narrow in spots. So
No worry about like getting stuck in mud or anything like that. Like it's not like.
it hasn't been as bad rain-wise as it was a couple weeks ago, and so they have graded it since that really bad deluge. I can't promise that you will or will not get stuck.
Yeah. All right. So we got a little brochure for Gates of the Arctic, which we'll be driving right past when we go over the pass. But basically, she said she can't confirm nor deny whether it will be slick, muddy, or anything like that. It's just kind of hard to really tell what the actual conditions are. She said there's been a bunch of vans coming through here going up the pass today with no problem. So hopefully we should be fine. But with that, we're just gonna send it up. I would be 100% lying if I didn't say that I wasn't scared. I'm actually very scared. Not necessarily for the pass today. After it rains for the next 2 days while I'm over in the tundra, driving back is what scares me. But this is probably one of the only times I'm ever gonna be up in this area. So let's just go for it. Actually, before we do that, I gotta get gas. I got my tank, we're all the way full, and heading up through the mountains. Also inside they had a buffet and let me take some leftovers. So I got some pulled pork, mashed potatoes, whatever this beef is. It's actually pretty good. Some bread. I also got some of this delicious looking berry cobbler because I realized once I got to this gas station that all I'd eaten all day was a Lunchable because I've been so stressed out about this drive. With that, we press on. And we just passed the sign that there is no services for 240 miles. Theoretically, with 360 miles on the tank, we should be able to make it all the way to Dead Horse with no problem and not have to use that additional gas tank that I bought. Also, I don't remember how I've been saying it, but I think I've been saying Antigan Pass, but it's just Adigan Pass. There's no N in there. Really can't break concentration on this road for more than 2 seconds. Constantly got to be watching and avoiding all these potholes. And sometimes you're just like shooting a gap between two of the potholes at once, and you're just hoping that one doesn't pop up in the middle where your tire is. All right, so we should be coming up on the pass shortly. I think if you're looking at this map, that's it right there. But this road has kind of turned into a single lane road with the right side primarily being mud. But luckily there is not a ton of traffic, so it hasn't been that big of an issue. My hands are sweating so much, but so far, I mean, these uphill sections aren't too bad. They're pretty dry. Definitely not the nicest roads, I've driven on, but I've driven on far worse. It is stunning up here. Over to our left over there is actually Gates of the Arctic National Park, which is really unlike any other national park in the country because the only way you can get there is by through hiking or by plane. There's no real roads that go in there, there's no paths, there's no designated hikes, it's just the park and that's it. And if you can get there, you can get there. But I think this is the section that the lady at the visitor center warned me about being muddy once you get to the top. But so far, so dry. I know the camera is not doing it justice, but it is absolutely beautiful up here. The only thing out here is this road and some truckers. And I think right up there is actually the pass. But yeah, as you can see, mostly just trucks up here. I also read online that if you don't have a CB radio, which it's kind of recommended to have if you're going to do this drive, if you see a truck like that truck just stopped in the middle of the road, don't try to pass them because there's usually a reason that they're stopped, and that reason is typically that there is another truck coming from the other direction, since as you can see this road is essentially boiled down to one lane. So I think from here until we get over this pass, I'm just going to clip my GoPro into its little mount so I can focus up and drive. At least it's not the winter time, so one less thing I have to worry about is this is a severe risk avalanche zone. Definitely not enough snow in the mountains now for any of that. Alright, so the truck just flashed their hazards at me, so I'm guessing that was my sign to pass. If it wasn't, I'm sorry. But I'm going to assume that's what that means. I'm actually very happy to report that it is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's almost 100% dry. There's a couple little wet spots, but it truly looks like I am on a different planet. I think we made it to the top. Ooh, a lot of potholes. Now we just got to make it all the way back down over there. There we go. We have made it through the Adigan Pass. That is where we just came down from. And now we are only 45 minutes from our campsite. Also, once you get over this pass and out through this valley, you're actually in the tundra and there isn't as much vegetation or trees. So apparently the wildlife viewing on this side of the mountain is supposed to be amazing. So hopefully we can see some wolves or some muskox or some bears or something cool. Tomorrow, I actually booked a shuttle, I think it's through the oil company that works down here, to take me down to the Arctic Ocean so that I can swim in the Arctic Ocean, because everything past the point where the road ends is all kind of private property. So the only way that you can actually get to the Arctic Ocean is by this shuttle, and it wasn't cheap. It was like $69 for an hour-long trip just to step in the Arctic Ocean, but I figured I'm only out here once, so might as well do it. And I'm feeling a lot better now, a lot less stressed out. I don't know if it showed in the video, but I don't get stressed out very easily, and it was more so the thought of it that was stressful, not the actual doing it. And we're honestly not even really that close to being done. Tomorrow when we wake up, I think we still got 4 hours left of driving. So the campsite that we're trying to camp at tonight, it should be somewhere right on the other side of that lake. It might still be in use, but it's an airport, or it's at least near an airport. And it looks like there's some cones out there where planes definitely do land, so that's where we're hoping to camp tonight. All right, so it should be right down here. Down over there, I mean, this is so beautiful. I honestly can't get over it. So crazy. So yeah, it looks like this right here is the airport. But the place that we're camping is kind of up back around that way. Alright, so we have made it. Now we just gotta find a place to pull over and camp for the night. And I can already see hundreds of mosquitoes flying around the van, so that's not ideal. But I guess we'll just take this spot right here. They even have little picnic tables and fire pits. All right, this is it. Pretty crazy campsite for the night. I don't know if you guys can see them, but there are 80 mosquitoes just in this general vicinity right around my window. But it does feel good to finally be here after driving for what felt like an eternity, but was only really 8 hours. Also, we did have one casualty. I had a picture hanging right here, and it is now shattered on the floor. Picture of me and my girlfriend. All right, so the van was kind of in a little bit of disarray, things kind of strewn all over the place after driving down those roads. So I cleaned everything up, got everything a little bit organized. But I mean, just look at the size of these things. There's probably 700 of them, and the camera won't focus on them, but they are gigantic. And they actually hurt when they bite, like you feel it. Anyways, I still have leftovers from that buffet at Coldfoot. So I've got my cobbler, which looks kind of disgusting now. And then I've got all of this. In all honesty, I planned on doing a taco bowl night tonight and cooking them up once I got here, but the stress of that drive paired with the lack of sleep I got last night thinking about the drive has really worn me out, so I'm pretty tired. This is what we're having for dinner, and it's actually pretty good. But I actually do have to go pee. I kind of want an excuse to try out this bug net jacket that I have. Throw this jacket on. That should actually be completely sealed other than, I guess, the hands. And head outside to use the bathroom. But first, I gotta cinch this tight. Really don't want them getting inside of this thing. I feel like an astronaut or something, or like a hazmat guy. But let's go outside now that we are impervious to mosquitoes. I want them to try to bite. They're all hiding on this side of the van because it blocks the wind. Oh, look at them all. Oh, they're on my hand. Stop it. Look at them all. Swarming my face. I just gotta wash my hands. They're biting up my hands too. I feel like they can get me through this net on my elbows though. I don't really know if you guys can see them on camera, but there's so many. There's a ton because the van blocks the wind so they can actually fly around. Really glad that I heard about how bad the mosquitoes are prior so that I can come prepared in my mosquito-proof suit. Let's get back inside. It's not worth it being out here. Gotta shake them all off so don't bring any in the van. And quickly. Oh my God, there's so many. I brought like 7 in. Got one. Got 2. Got 3. All right, I think I got them all. I'm glad I got this thing. I was really debating on whether I should or not, but even just that one pee made it worth it to me. And I don't have to spray myself down with sticky bug spray and then not be able to shower. So that's the main reason why I got it, because I just didn't want to have to spray myself with bug spray and then have to shower it off. But I'm gonna finish this dinner, get some work done, and then get to bed, because tomorrow we gotta be up kind of early to drive down to the Arctic Ocean. Good morning from north of the Arctic Circle, out here in the Arctic tundra, just on the north side of the Brooks Range in Alaska. Yesterday we drove 8 hours down North America's most dangerous highway to get here. It was full of potholes, kind of like those, mud, and a bunch of other not fun things to drive on for 500 miles. But I've got this thing on kind of as a precaution. It's a little bit windy out this morning, so there's not too many. I might take this hood off. But last night there was a ungodly amount of mosquitoes hovering around the van, so I couldn't even step outside. So I put this on as a precaution just in case. But it seems like the wind has picked up enough to where it's not that big of an issue. But the reason I'm walking away from the van now is because when I pulled out my drone this morning, I saw over here there's some sort of iceberg or ice sheet that I wanted to walk over and check out before we left. So that's where we're going. And it is beautiful out here. The landscape is just so pristine. It's so untouched by anyone or anything other than the dirt highway that we drove in on. It's a very, very cool place to be. And it's even cooler knowing that of the small percentage of people that even visit Alaska, only 1% of those people travel north of Fairbanks. And it's pretty cool to be part of that 1%. I want to see if I can walk down to this other ice sheet over here. It looks like it might be on my side of the river. There we go. We made it out to the ice sheet that's still out here in the middle of June. And it's actually pretty cool. It almost looks like a miniature glacier with these little cuts and valleys that are kind of cutting through it. And it's so blue. I don't know if it picks it up on camera, but it's not snow. It is solid ice. And wow, that looks pretty cool. That's awesome. How's it going? Good. This ice sheet's pretty cool. We met Owen, who's down there walking on the ice. He's, I'm guessing, with that group of campers that's up there. And he had the same idea I had of walking down and checking out the ice this morning. But I've got to make it back to the van because it's already almost 11 a.m. And I have to be in Dead Horse by 3 because I have a ticket on a shuttle to take me down past the oil fields, set my feet in the Arctic Ocean, and complete this trip. But we're about 3.5 hours away, so I'm already cutting it close. Morning. You guys traveling from or to Dead Horse? I have one of those tours booked to go, like, walk the, whatever, go to the Arctic Ocean and stuff.
What time slot are you?
3, so I gotta get leaving soon. Did you guys do it?
No, we have the 3 o'clock too.
Oh, you're heading up there?
North, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, sweet. I'll see you there then.
Yeah, sounds good.
So one of those guys at that camp back there is actually booked on the same trip I am to go to the Arctic Ocean. So we'll see them a little bit later today, actually. And I really didn't even need this mesh net today because mosquitoes weren't out flying around. They were kind of held at bay by the wind, which is actually the main reason why I chose this spot in the first place, because I know it's like right up in here next to the mountains. So I expected it to be windy, but last night it just was completely dead. So they were out in full force. Whew. All right, let's get out of here, down to Dead Horse, and finish this 6-month trip. So these last 20 or 30 miles have actually been very, very nice. So it's been a nice break to be able to just put on cruise control, not have to worry about the roads for at least a little while. And there was a section of construction, and one of the guys came up and was talking to me, and he told me that apparently this section of the road was only paved like 2 years ago. So it's fairly recent and it's very nice. But we are about 15 minutes away from Prudhoe Bay and Dead Horse. And I don't know if you can tell, but this drive has absolutely taken everything out of me. I have been recording a video every single day since I got to Canada, and it's been like 10 to 15 days of nonstop filming, planning, driving, and repeating until I got here, and I really wouldn't trade it for anything. It has been the most amazing drive that I've ever been on. Some of the most beautiful, untouched wilderness that I think you can experience today anywhere in the world, and I truly can't say it enough how grateful I am for you guys, because without you, I would not have been able to go on this journey. I would not be able to see the things that I constantly get to see on a daily basis and then share with you. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you as we approach the final stop on our journey from Key West up to the northernmost point that you can physically drive in a car in North America. So I think before I do anything else or head over to the place where I'm meeting that shuttle to pick me up to take me out to the Arctic Ocean, the first thing I'm going to do is pick up gas. And this is what I was talking about. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it, but my gas tank is below half, which means at some point on this road, you pass a point of no return because the gas station that you came from in Coldfoot is too far away to turn around and get back to with the amount of gas you have left. So the only option you have is to continue forward onto Dead Horse, where you can fill up again before turning around and heading all the way back down the highway. This is it. This is Dead Horse and Prudhoe Bay, just oil rigs, machinery, and little tin houses. So this is what, depending on where you're driving from, and in my case it was Key West, Florida, and according to my trip meter, for me it was 15,613 miles to come out here into the middle of nowhere in the Arctic tundra to see some oil rigs. Wonderful. And I think that right there is actually a hotel called the Aurora. It'd be pretty cool to stay there. There you go, $7.46 a gallon. And the mosquitoes are out again. But I gotta go inside, I think, to that building and do my credit card and stuff. Woo, it's warm in here. Pay here. Pump number 2. There we go, it's approved. We should be good to fill up now. And when I was walking out of here, I just wanna show you, give you a little bit of perspective for the mosquitoes out here. Every single one of those on the front of the car are dead mosquitoes. That is ridiculous. There we go. She's filling up at $7 a gallon. Some of the most expensive gas that I've ever bought. And like, that's how big the mosquitoes are. I don't know if you can see how big that actually is on camera, but it's the size of a fly and they hurt when they sting. But yeah, really not much out here other than oil tanks, oil rigs, and truckers. There we go. She's filled up half a tank. $114. Gas definitely isn't cheap out here. And the van has a nice coat of mud all over it. All right, so one more stop up at Camp Dead Horse, and then we're gonna go meet that shuttle. All right, This is it. This is officially as northern as you're legally allowed to go without a shuttle taking you. This is the official end of the Dalton Highway. We have made it halfway through our journey. Still gotta drive all the way back though. And I really should have brought stickers with me so I could put them up on the walls. But let's head into the general store. This is it. Got a bunch of shirts and stuff over there. And just a random assortment of things you can get. A little tiny grocery section. But I'm definitely going to be getting myself a shirt. Do you have any stickers?
That first row.
First row? Mm-hmm. There we go. We got some sweatshirts, some stickers, and then some pretzels to munch on. But there you go. Made it to the end. All right, let's go catch that shuttle and head out to the Arctic Ocean. All right, so I think this is the spot right here. Yeah. Dead Horse Camp. This is where they take us out to the Arctic Ocean. So before we head inside, we're gonna pack my bag with this because there will probably be mosquitoes out there, and then a towel just in case I want to fully get in. And I'm also already wearing my bathing suit under my sweatpants, so we should be good to go. Never open your door for more than 2 seconds out here or else mosquitoes immediately fly in. There we go. Arctic shuttle and overnight guests. That's me. How's it going? Hi, is this where you check in for the shuttle?
Yeah, what is your name?
Ryan.
I've been looking at this list for 2 days. I don't see your name on here, but we can probably make something work. I need to get your ID and
Yeah.
Did you maybe for another different day or something?
I don't think so. I have my ID and
When
I have
did you make the reservation, do you know?
2 days ago.
Okay.
Awesome, appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, so we weren't actually on the list, but
Okay, Ryan.
yeah.
Did you say we?
I'm sorry?
Did you say we weren't on the list?
No, just me. I was just
okay.
talking to the camera, sorry.
Okay, gotcha. Because I'm like, wait, give
no.
me that other person.
No, it's just me.
All right, cool.
But yeah, they've got a bunch of like little hangout areas in here. For I guess the truckers or anyone who wants to, but I'm just gonna go hang on the van. It shouldn't be more than 30 minutes that we gotta wait for them. But while I wait, I'm just gonna lay down and relax a little bit after driving for 11 days straight. All right, just went back inside and they said we're ready to go. Taking that bus over there. There's actually a lot of people here. There's like 15 or 20 people coming with us.
They drove all the way from Wisconsin, like total, just south of Duke. Oh yeah. Technically, yes.
Safety first.
And then you can. Dead Horse is the public area. So there is the airport here. We're on airport property here. These pads are airport, and the identifier for the airport here is SCC, so Sierra Charlie Charlie. It stands for Sohio Construction Camp. For when they first were building and doing the pipeline development up here. Dead Horse was named after the company that first had the contract for bringing in gravel for building the runway. It was a company called Dead Horse Haulers. There's some caribou to the left. You probably saw some caribou already. If you come up,
So this is it. Arctic Ocean. Not very picturesque, but I guess that's not what you're going for. Yeah, you can see out on those, I guess what he was calling them was spits, which are like these man-made gravel peninsulas. All that oil equipment going all the way out there. They have some offshore rigs down there. But yeah, this is just a big industrial area. And I see a bunch of rusted barrels on the shore here, so I don't really know how safe it is to go swimming out here, but I'm still gonna try. So here we go. This is the clean part of the beach. Over there was kind of a little muddy from the moss, but you go for a little icy swim.
So what we're seeing over the years is that the ice
It's cold.
goes out real, which brings like that. I don't know if I bring the fields.
All right, let's go for it.
Literally. We gotta keep going. Coach out, his camera's there. He wants it in. Hand over here. Good, well done, well done. So Maryland waters are warmer than that?
Yeah, a little bit. That was cold. The wind doesn't really help with feeling cold, but it definitely does help with drying you off quick. We did it. Really can't go much more northern than this. Unless you're going to the North Pole, which is actually only 1,300 miles that way, which is only just about half of the entire Alaskan highway, so really not that far from the North Pole here. Also, that family that's over there, they were the same family that was at the campsite with me this morning, and I was talking to them before we got on the bus. They ended up being late to the bus today, and they were telling me it's because one of the kids was pushing a seat forward and it hit a can of bear spray and exploded it all over the entire family. So they spent 30 minutes crying, covered in bear spray, trying to get it off. But anyways, there you go. That is the Arctic Ocean. We made it. We jumped in. Now I'm good to head back.
Okay, well you made it. Congratulations, everybody. Ryan, congratulations. You get a membership to the Don Phillips. There you are. Thank you. Daryl, Larry.
Another certificate. We're done. We've made it. Did everything I said I was gonna do. Everything that I wanted to do. I think I'm gonna camp here in Prudhoe Bay tonight, and then tomorrow we'll head out and go somewhere else. But there's a bunch of gravel pits just off the highway, and I think I'm gonna go try to stay in one of those gravel pits. And I think there's actually one like just across the road down here, not too far. I think this is actually it right here. The road looks decent enough and can definitely handle this. So yeah, I think this is where we're gonna sleep tonight. It's not the most scenic spot, and it is pretty close to all of the industrial complexes and stuff like that, but it's a decent way off the highway, and luckily this highway doesn't have a ton of traffic, so I'm not really too worried about the road noise, but it's actually not a bad view. So this is where we are going to stealth camp for the night, right next to the river. This is where we are gonna be stealth camping in Prudhoe Bay. See the oil rigs. Also, I do wanna say, I am pretty proud. I built this entire van myself, and I have been driving down for the last 11 hours where sometimes for miles at a time the washboards were bad enough to make your teeth rattle, and not a single cabinet came open. Nothing has fallen apart. The only thing that fell down was this picture, but that's only because it was hooked onto a little nail, so it just swung off. But nothing else has fallen apart. Nothing's really rattling around. The only thing that rattles is this, but that's not even something I built. That's just how the oven came. So maybe I should start a van building company. This is one of those kinds of trips where it's like, I'm glad to say that I've done it once, but I don't think I'd necessarily do it twice. At least not for quite a long time. Done enough driving the last 6 months than I think anyone needs to do in their entire life. So yeah, pretty uneventful ending to a very fun and very eventful trip. But honestly, it was never about getting here and seeing oil rigs. It was about the process and the journey to get here, which is something that I think I'll remember for a long time. So I know I've already said it, but I truly can't understate how extremely grateful I am for you guys watching my videos and enjoying my journey along with me. But this is the last video of my Great Alaskan series. So for one last time on this road trip, as always, I truly appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, think about clicking that subscribe button. It really does help out the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.